Chapter 25:14. As for why he had come to the spirit domain, everyone knew without even thinking that it was to awaken the spirit race's supreme Emperor Star. If he awakened the spirit race's Emperor Star, he would have 8 supreme Emperor Stars. He would no longer be called the possessor of 7 Emperor Stars, but the possessor of 8 Emperor Stars. Just hearing that would be shocking. Human domain. I've long since heard of his great name and sensed the ripples from when he awakened his Emperor Stars. However, I've never personally seen him before, so I definitely can't miss this opportunity. Haha, I'm also going to see what the number 1 person in the Heaven Awakened world looks like. I want to see if he's really as terrifying as the rumors say. I didn't have a chance to go before, but now I have a chance. I heard that the possessor of 7 Emperor Stars is most likely from the human race. If he really is from the human race, our human race will welcome a glorious era and become the leader of the 8 races. I think so too. When that time comes, we won't be afraid of the God race, demon race, or devil race, and we won't be bullied by those 3 races. Let's go and confirm his identity. If he really is from the human race, he's the hope of our human race and can't be harmed at all. We have to do our best to protect him. Outlander domain. Haha, our Outlander king is too powerful. The first king of kings indeed had great vision and foresight to choose him to be the second king of kings. Now we just have to wait for him to return to our Outlander race and ascend to the supreme throne. No matter what race he is from, since he has the Outlander Emperor Star, he definitely has a pure Outlander bloodline. I acknowledge his identity as king. It's a pity. Back then, so many experts attacked the Legacy land, but our Outlander race was unable to protect him and was almost killed by the other race's experts. How great of a loss would it have been for our Outlander race? In actuality, we had the power to protect him back then, but it's a pity that the Outlander race's experts were not united. Many of them were not willing to help our Outlander king in such a dangerous situation. That's right. Back then, it was Outlander 10 College's people who helped him, and it was the old dean who stopped the various races' experts. Now, we can only hope that he doesn't hate our Outlander race, or else our hope will be destroyed. Those Outlander experts who didn't act for him most likely feel quite regretful. Who would have thought that he would have such accomplishments today and become the focus of the entire world? Yes, there are only 2 choices for such a terrifying person. Either you try to please him, or you try to kill him. Infernal domain. That brat has finally appeared again. This time we must kill him at all costs. We can't let him grow any further. Otherwise, we will all die miserably. Yes, that person is simply too terrifying. Even a celestial wouldn't be as terrifying as him. If he awakens another Supreme Emperor Star, that would be the 8th Supreme Emperor Star. Just thinking about it makes me feel uneasy. If I had known that things would turn out like this, I definitely wouldn't have acted against him. I could only endure the matter with the evil spirit Abyss Flower Ancestor. It was because of the evil spirit Abyss Flower Ancestor that I wanted to kill him back then. Now, I feel so regretful. After all, I have enmity with the evil spirit Abyss Flower Ancestor and not with him. Yet I have to pay such a heavy price. All right, there's no point in regretting now. Now that we know that he's in the spirit domain, we definitely can't let him off. Only by killing him will we be safe. That's right, there's no point in regretting. You can't blame us for this. Who told him to be the evil spirit Abyss Flower Ancestor's legatee? He was the one who got involved in this. And my little brother was killed by the evil spirit Abyss Flower Ancestor back then. Divine domain. Even though that person didn't come to our divine domain, I'm sure everyone knows about the things he did in the divine world. Not only does he have the Pantheon Mirror's power, but he also has the strongest divine power in the Heaven Awakened world. I believe that he's from the God race. Back when the Pantheon Mirror descended, it wasn't just our Heaven Awakened world. The outer world and world of refinement were also greatly shaken. Now that he has the Pantheon Mirror's power, he should be the sovereign of the God race. I agree. His God race bloodline is even purer than ours, and he has the strongest divine power in the God race. No one can compare to him in terms of divine power. Haha, my daughter is quite sensible. I wanted her to go to the godly world to prove our divine domain strength and obtain the position of the ruler of all gods. Even though she lost to the godly world's son, I'm quite satisfied to have found such a husband. All right, enough. Can you stop talking? I'm getting annoyed hearing you say things like this. However, that boy's performance was simply too shocking. He's going to awaken his 8th Supreme Emperor star, right? No one can imagine what he'll be like in the future. In actuality, my daughter is much prettier than your daughter. It's a pity that he didn't come to the divine domain, or else he would have been smitten by my daughter. Oof. Your daughter is just a bit prettier. Does your daughter have the same potential as my daughter? Does she have the God race's Supreme Emperor star? She's even more laughable than my daughter. That's why your daughter is a bit better than my daughter. Also, my daughter's talent is quite good, and she might be able to awaken the God race's Emperor star in the future. When that time comes, your daughter won't be able to compare to my daughter. Moreover, men always like prettier women. All right, stop arguing. Now that that person has appeared in the spirit domain, everyone in the Heaven Awakened world knows about it, and they're all hurrying over. Do you think we should go and take a look? I definitely want to go. I've long since heard of his name. Now, I want to personally see just how extraordinary he is and why he has such terrifying potential. I also want to go and see how terrifying my future son-in-law is. The spirit domain is most likely going to become quite lively. Who knows how many experts will go there, and who knows what will happen. Ghost domain. That person is quite terrifying. It's a pity that he's already awakened the death race's Supreme Emperor star, so he can't come to our ghost domain. I want to see what he's like, and I can't wait to see what terrifying ripples he'll cause in our ghost domain. I also feel that this is quite good. Our ghost domain has always been quite lifeless and lacks vitality. It feels quite boring, so I welcome him here. I heard that this person has 6 paths of reincarnation power, but I wonder if that's true. How can he have the power of the underworld's Supreme Emperor? I'm quite curious about this. What's so strange about that? Everyone else is about to awaken their 8th Emperor star, so there's nothing strange about it. Let me tell you, not only does he have 6 paths of reincarnation power, but he also has a pure 6 paths of reincarnation bloodline. Peak. Chapter 25:15. Is that true? Not only does he have the 6 paths of reincarnation power, but how can he also have the 6 paths of reincarnation bloodline? What's his relationship with the underworld sovereign? Could he be the son of the 6 paths demon images? Even I'm given a big fright. However, thinking about it, it might really be possible. It would explain why he has such terrifying potential. Now that you say it like that, is he someone from the death race? Right now, there are 3 types of people heading to the spirit domain. Those who want to protect him, those who want to kill him, and those who want to watch the show. What should we do? I can already imagine the intense scenes of battles, but I don't want to get involved. I'll just watch from afar. I also want to see this terrifying person and talk to him about the 6 paths of reincarnation bloodline. I also want to understand his countless secrets. The alchemy world. That person has finally appeared. We must obtain all of this person's information, and if possible, we must kill him at all costs. This person might threaten the entire alchemy world in the future. Aren't you exaggerating a bit? I admit that he's quite terrifying, but I don't believe that he can really threaten the entire alchemy world. I support what he said. Our world also has alchemy emperor stars, and they're not any weaker than the Heaven Awakened world's emperor stars. We all attach great importance to someone with such an emperor star, as he'll be a sovereign in the future. However, he has 7 sovereign emperor stars, and the power of 7 emperor stars added together is not equivalent to 7 individual sovereign emperor stars. I feel that he's simply too terrifying and must die. I agree with that. Last time, he caused the all-god mirror to descend, causing our alchemy world's elements to collapse. I still remember that scene. Perhaps he has the ability to use the all-god mirror and will definitely be able to threaten our alchemy world. I have a plan, which is for our alchemy world's experts to sneak into the Heaven Awakened world and find an opportunity to kill this person. I also want to do that. We can go to the Heaven Awakened world to gain more information. If we can kill him, we'll be able to get rid of our greatest threat and destroy the Heaven Awakened world's morale. This matter is of great importance. We have to make preparations. It would be best if we could invite a half-immortal existence from our gold refiner clan. We can use a sovereign-level gold refiner sacred beast to avoid any accidents. Chaos World. That person has appeared again. We need to go to the Heaven Awakened world to have a look and find a good opportunity to kill that person. We can't let him live, or else who knows what kind of ultimate existence he will become. That's right. Just thinking about him makes me feel a trace of fear. Such a person has never appeared in our outer world before. I wonder what's so special about the Heaven Awakened world for it to give birth to such a terrifying person. Yes, I fear him as well. In fact, I have a feeling that the primal chaos world will be destroyed at his hands. I'm in favor of using all sorts of methods to kill him. Actually, I don't care whether I kill him or not. What I care about is his flesh and blood. That is definitely the most precious and terrifying flesh and blood in the world. As long as I can devour it, I will obtain supreme power. I also want to devour his flesh and blood. Even if I can't become as terrifying as him, I can still become a supreme figure in the primal chaos world. This is a heaven-defying treasure. Let's sneak into the Heaven Awakened world then. Find that person, kill him, and then split him up so that everyone gets a share. What do you think? All right, fudge. If we miss out on such a treasure, we'll regret it for the rest of our lives. We definitely have to go to the Heaven Awakened world and obtain his flesh and blood, even if it's just a pinky. I'll go as well. I'm so thirsty and want to devour his flesh and blood. Because the card world had just collided with the Heaven Awakened world, there were many things that they did not know. However, they had gathered information from various places in the Heaven Awakened world, so they immediately heard about this. Who is that person? How did he cause such a commotion? It's not just the entire Heaven Awakened world, but even the outer world and alchemy world are paying so much attention to him. He's simply too terrifying. We need to properly investigate this person. We just got here and don't know anything, so we have to be careful. This person definitely isn't simple. I'm quite curious as to who this person is, what abilities does he have, and how terrifying he is. Why is he causing such a commotion? Now that everyone is paying so much attention to this person, why don't we sneak into the Heaven Awakened world and take a look? They're all participating in this, so we can't fall behind. All right, I'm going to sneak in and take a look. I'm quite curious about the Heaven Awakened world and have wanted to take a look for a long time. After hearing about this, Jian Yue and Lan Yu frowned, feeling quite surprised. How had news of Zhao Fu being in the spirit domain been leaked? Moreover, the speed at which this news spread was simply terrifying. It was as if everyone knew about it in an instant. Now that the situation had become quite complicated, they could not predict what would happen. If they were dragged in, their lives might be in danger. Lan Yu seriously thought about it and made the decision to continue searching. She felt that Zhao Fu was the only person she liked, so even if it was incredibly dangerous, she could accept it. Jian Yue and Jian Yue sighed. They knew that once this news was leaked, it would cause such a huge commotion, so they did not reveal information about Zhao Fu. Now, they knew that all of the higher beings were searching for Zhao Fu, and facing countless higher beings, they would not be able to resist at all. Jian Yue looked at Jian Yue and said seriously, "Big sis, should we continue?" Jian Yue thought about it and said seriously, "I've already followed him to the spirit domain, and I don't want to give up. I have to obtain that sword intent. Yue, it's too dangerous. You should go back." Jian Yue shook her head and said seriously, "Big sis, I want to stay by your side and don't want to give up halfway." A trace of a smile appeared on Jian Yue's face as she said, "Let's go then." Xiang Qianqian did not hesitate and continued to search for Zhao Fu. She did not want to endure the pain of missing him anymore. After hearing about this, Long Qingqing and Feng Baixue looked incredibly shocked. They had never thought that the second king of kings, who had 7 emperor stars, would come to the spirit domain. They had long since heard about how terrifying this person was, and now that they were in the spirit domain, they felt incredibly excited and wanted to personally see this legendary figure. What they did not know was that the Zhao Fu they had been searching for was the second king of kings, the person with 7 emperor stars, and the number 1 person in the Heaven Awakened world. P. Chapter 25:16. Zhao Fu did not know about these things, and he looked around warily as he waited for Qing He and Qing Yao to recover. Half a day later, they had recovered. Qing He did not look injured at all, but Qing Yao's face was still slightly pale. Zhao Fu asked caringly, "How are you?" Qing Yao smiled as she said, "I'm fine. I'm just a bit weak." Qing He looked at his big sister and said, "Let's rest for a day. After you've recovered, I'll go gather some information. I only know where the 3 heavenly spirit pearls are, but I don't know where to find the other elements." Qing Yao thought about it and lightly nodded. "All right." Zhao Fu was not in a rush. He was already quite satisfied with obtaining the water, metal, and wood heavenly spirit pearls so quickly. He smiled as he asked, "What should we do next?" Qing Yao replied, "Let's go to the spirit city first. It's one of the largest cities nearby, and we should be able to obtain the information we want there." Following this, the 3 of them flew towards the spirit city. Halfway there, Qing Yao and Qing He frowned because they could sense many people giving off terrifying auras. None of them were weak, and some were even stronger than them. What's going on? Why are there suddenly so many experts? Qing Yao and Qing He looked quite confused and did not know what was going on. However, they felt that it was not simple and that something incredibly terrifying had happened. Otherwise, it was impossible for so many experts to appear here. Qing He thought about it. Could it be that they had stolen the heavenly spirit pearls? However, that was not quite possible. Even though Jin San had good relations with the large factions, he could not invite so many experts. Qing Yao said seriously, "Qing He, something terrifying must have happened here. Something terrible might have happened here. Should we go to other places to collect information?" Qing He also felt that this place was quite dangerous and that they did not have the ability to protect themselves. He said, We'll go somewhere else to gather information. There's no need for us to participate in this." Following this, the 3 of them flew towards another place. Not too long later, they stopped and their expressions became serious. This was because they could sense many terrifying auras here. Just what was going on? Putting aside the previous place, why were there so many terrifying experts gathered here as well? They realized that what was happening was far more terrifying than they had imagined. Qing He asked solemnly, "Big sis, are we going anywhere else? Let's find out what happened first. Why did so many terrifying people appear?" Qing Yao thought for a moment and said, "Let's find out what happened first. I feel that this might be something big that has shaken spirit realm." Qing He replied, "All right. Let's continue flying in this direction." Zhao Fu also frowned. He didn't know what had happened. He didn't expect that his identity would be exposed. Boom! As Qing He's team of 3 was about to continue flying forward, a powerful stream of light shot over from afar to block their path. After the light spread out, a seductive woman with short, black hair and a pair of cat ears appeared. She wore tight clothes and gave off a powerful aura. She was most likely a higher being expert. Qing He did not know this woman, and seeing her standing in front of him, he said unhappily, "Who are you? Why are you blocking our way?" The woman chuckled. "My name is Yu Mao. Don't worry, I don't have any ill intentions. I'm here for him." Yu Mao's gaze fell on Zhao Fu's body. Qing Yao understood who she was and said, "You're someone related to the celestial evil? You relied on your senses to come here?" Yu Mao smiled and nodded. "I used to be the 8th generation celestial evil's woman." Qing Yao continued to ask, "What do you want?" Yu Mao smiled as she said, "I heard that he appeared, so I came here. He's my man's successor, so I don't want anything to happen to him." Qing Yao said, "Now that we're taking care of him, you can see that he's fine, so you don't have to worry." Yu Mao smiled as she said, "But I want to take him away. The situation here is too dangerous, and someone as weak as him could easily die." Hearing that Yu Mao wanted to take Zhao Fu away, Qing He immediately said, "No." Yu Mao gave an alluring smile. "Why not? Could it be that you sisters have tasted him and can't bear to let him go with me?" Hearing this, Qing He and Qing Yao's faces became slightly red. Qing He looked at Yu Mao with her beautiful eyes and said, "Now that he's one of us, do you think you can take him away just because you want to?" Yu Mao looked at Qing He and Qing Yao. With her strength, it was not quite possible for her to forcefully take Zhao Fu away, so she took a step back and said, "I can use something to get on his good side. What do you think?" Qing He said with certainty, "No, you don't need to say anything. We definitely won't hand him over." Yu Mao was also feeling a little awkward. Boom, boom. Two massive explosions sounded out as two powerful auras descended. One was a cold-looking woman with long, icy hair and a graceful figure, and she wore a light red dress and gave off a flirtatious aura. The auras they gave off were quite terrifying, and they were both higher being experts. Seeing them appear, Qing Yao's expression became serious. The situation was quite unfavorable, and she asked, "Are you two women related to the celestial evil? Did you come for the man next to me?" The cold-looking woman lightly nodded. "I'm related to the 7th generation celestial evil. I want to take him to my place. That way, he won't be in any danger, and you won't be able to protect him." The flirtatious woman coquettishly laughed as she said, "I'm also a woman of the 9th generation celestial evil, and we both have his power within us, so we're related. This time, I also want to take him away from the spirit domain and have some fun in a remote place." Qing Yao's expression was cold as she said, "Whether you're his woman or not has nothing to do with me, but I won't let you take him away." Yu Mao lightly laughed. "You sisters don't have much of an advantage. I'd advise you to give up on him, or else the three of us will work together to steal him." Qing Yi's expression was quite unsightly because the three people in front of them were not any weaker than them. If they fought, they would not have much of an advantage, and it was possible that Zhao Fu would be taken away by them. The flirtatious woman's beautiful eyes looked at Zhao Fu seductively as she said, "The aura you give off is even more intense than the 9th generation celestial evils, and I'm so excited that I want to do it with you. Come over and we can do it." These shameful words made Qing Yao feel quite angry. "No matter what, you're still his woman. How can you be so lewd?" Chapter 25:17. The flirtatious woman coquettishly laughed as she said, "He's been dead for so long. Why can't I find another man? You all know that apart from people who cultivate the 6 desires demonic art, we are not interested in anyone else. I tried to find the 10th generation celestial bastard, but that fellow was completely useless and could not move me at all. Now that I've met someone who is even more exciting than the 9th generation celestial bastard, how could I give up? Lastly, I think everyone here who doesn't want to have sex with him at least once." Hearing this, the women's faces became slightly red, including the cold-looking woman. Qing Yao could not retort. She had been holding it in. She had been fantasizing about it a few days ago. The flirtatious woman laughed as she said, "In actuality, we don't need to fight over him. We just need to do it with him, and whoever lasts the longest will have him. What do you all think?" Yu Mao licked her lips and smiled as she said, "I have no objections." The cold-looking woman looked a bit embarrassed as she said, "I have no objections either." The three of them then looked at Qing Yao and Qing He. Qing Yao's face became red and her heart rate sped up. She wanted to agree, but the shame in her heart made her want to refuse. Qing He looked quite angry. She naturally did not want to share what belonged to her with others. Zhao Fu felt quite helpless. In front of such powerful people, he did not have the right to speak and was treated like a toy for them to vent their desires. Boom, boom, boom. Explosions continuously sounded out as people giving off powerful auras descended, causing terrifying ripples to spread out. The terrifying power caused the heavens and earth to dim, causing people to feel intense despair. Sensing this immense power, Qing He's people's expressions became quite unsightly as they looked at the people around them. There were men and women, young and old, and there were 30 or so people in total. They sensed that there were a few higher beings gathered here and thought that they had discovered the second king of kings, so they hurried over. Countless pairs of eyes looked at Clear River's people at the center, feeling as if they had discovered the second king of kings and were arguing with each other. The bald elder gave off a powerful aura as he said, "What are you all doing here?" The flirtatious woman smiled as she said, "Nothing much, just some private matters." A young man said angrily, "Don't gather together if you don't have anything to do. We were excited for nothing and thought that you found the second king of kings." Ching He asked curiously, "Are you all here for the second king of kings, the possessor of the 7 emperor stars? When did he come to spirit realm?" Yutomi smiled and explained, "Don't you guys know? The second king of kings has appeared in the spirit realm, and his goal is most likely to awaken the spirit race's emperor star. Many experts have gathered in the spirit realm, which is why there are so many experts here." Ching He and Ching Yao finally understood what had happened. No wonder so many experts had come to spirit realm when such a terrifying person had appeared. Zhao Fu felt incredibly nervous. He was now surrounded by 30 or so higher beings, and if his identity was revealed, he would die at any moment. This was simply too terrifying. At the same time, he was very surprised. When did his identity get exposed? Why didn't he know? Seeing that Ching He and the others did not know about this, the higher beings did not want to waste time here and flew away. Some people glanced at Zhao Fu and felt that he was quite ordinary, so they did not pay him much mind. In the end, a man and a woman stayed here. The man was the gentle-looking, middle-aged man who had said that he wanted to kill the 12th celestial bastard, and his name was Su Fei. The woman was the sweet-tempered, beautiful woman who was related to the 9th celestial bastard, and she was called Bai Dandan. At that moment, Bai Dandan's beautiful eyes were looking at them. Qin Yao and the flirtatious woman looked at Bai Dandan and felt quite nervous. They could sense the 9th celestial bastard's power within Bai Dandan's body, so she was most likely his woman. She most likely sensed that Zhao Fu was the 12th celestial bastard. If she revealed this, Zhao Fu would definitely die, and they would not be able to protect Zhao Fu. Even though Zhao Fu could not compare to the second king of kings and had 7 emperor stars, there were still too many people who wanted to kill Zhao Fu. Moreover, because of the second king of kings, they had gathered together. Once they discovered Zhao Fu's identity, they would not come one by one, but in groups. How could they stop them? Su Fei looked at his wife and asked warmly, "Wife, do you know them? Do you know them?" Bai Dandan nodded. "They're people I knew in the past. I want to talk to them alone. Can you go back first?" Su Fei thought about it and said, "I'll wait for you in the spirit city. Also, don't worry about the celestial bastard. You don't want such a person to continue harming women." Bai Dandan replied, "Mmm." Su Fei gave a trace of a smile and flew to the side before disappearing. Now that only those related to the celestial bastard were left, everyone let out a sigh of relief and were not as nervous as before. The flirtatious woman lightly laughed as she said, "Thank you for not revealing his identity, or else he would have died." Bai Dandan looked at Zhao Fu with a cold expression as she replied, "No need. I don't want him to die." Being stared at by her, Zhao Fu felt quite uncomfortable. Bai Dandan walked over to Zhao Fu and raised a hand as she slapped Zhao Fu's face, causing a clear sound to ring out. Zhao Fu felt quite confused and could not understand why she had suddenly slapped him. Bai Dandan looked at Zhao Fu and said coldly, "This is because of what happened in the past. Even though the 9th celestial bastard has died, as his legatee, you should bear the consequences." Zhao Fu did not know what to say. He was not the 12th celestial bastard. However, these celestial bastards had caused too much trouble, causing so many people to want to kill them. None of them had a good ending, and they were all killed by others. Seeing that Zhao Fu had been slapped, Qing He angrily went up in front of Zhao Fu to stop Bai Dandan from harming Zhao Fu. Bai Dandan was a higher being, and Zhao Fu would not be able to withstand her attacks. However, Qing Yao suddenly stretched out a hand and stopped Qing He, saying, "Don't go." Qing He turned and looked at his big sister strangely as he asked, "Why? Big sister, how can you see Zhao Fu being hit by her?" Just as he spoke, Qing He heard a sobbing sound. He turned and saw that Bai Dandan was crying as she looked at Zhao Fu. Tears continuously flowed out of her eyes and slid down her white face. Qing He stopped and did not say anything. The flirtatious woman deeply sighed as she said, "Another woman who has been harmed by a celestial bastard. Sometimes I really want all of those celestial bastards to die. I don't want them to harm women like this." Chapter 25:18. Yumao also nodded somewhat sorrowfully and said, "Sometimes I also wish that all celestial evils would die so that they would be women like us." Qing Yao looked at her little sister Qing He seriously and said, "Now you've seen it. This is the fate of women related to celestial evils. I hope that you won't participate in this and can go back now." Qing He looked at Bai Dandan and fell silent. In the future, if Zhao Fu died like the other celestial evils, she would be like Bai Dandan and herself. She would always miss him and be alone until she died. Even though Zhao Fu had promised that he would not die like the other celestial evils, no one knew what would happen in the future. However, it was too late. She could not pull herself out and said, "Big sis, I've already done it with him. I've already slept with him. I'm his woman now." Qing Yao looked quite confused and had never thought that things would turn out like this. However, a trace of anger appeared on her face as she walked over to Zhao Fu. She wanted to settle the score with Zhao Fu. Qing He hurriedly stopped Qing Yao and pleaded, "Big sis, I did it willingly. I volunteered, so don't blame Zhao Fu." Zhao Fu looked at the beautiful woman in front of him who was continuously crying, and he could not bear to see her like this. So he went up and hugged her. Bai Dandan's body froze, but in the next moment, she tightly hugged Zhao Fu and started to cry, releasing all of the emotions that she had suppressed for many years. Zhao Fu said softly, "Don't cry. I'll take good care of you in the future." Bai Dandan looked up at Zhao Fu with a teary face and said as she sobbed, "Who needs you to take care of me?" Bai Dandan was just venting her emotions from the 9th celestial evils and did not want to do anything with Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu lightly laughed and lowered his head to kiss her lips. Bai Dandan immediately started to struggle, but in her panic, she forgot that she was a higher being realm expert and could not break free from Zhao Fu. The desire within the depths of her body exploded out. Bai Dandan was immersed in it, doing it with Zhao Fu in a frenzy. After a while, Zhao Fu let go of Bai Dandan. Bai Dandan's face was red and her eyes were covered with a layer of mist. She hugged Zhao Fu and gasped for breath. Zhao Fu hugged her and flew down to the ground. They landed on a patch of green grass, and then it was indescribable. Su Fei, who was waiting in the spirit city, could not imagine that his wife was having an intense affair with a man that he had not paid much attention to previously. Her face was slutty and happy, something that he had never seen before. Seeing the intense scene on the ground, the flirtatious woman gave a trace of a smile and flew up to join in. Yumio and the ice-cold woman also flew down. In the end, only Qing He and Qing Yao were left in the air. Qing He angrily looked at Zhao Fu and the other women doing this. Qing Yao blushed. Why did Zhao Fu look so serious? How could he do such a thing in front of others? Qing He looked at his big sister and said, "Big sis, let's go down as well. I know you want to as well, but we can't let that fellow be taken away by another woman." Qing Yao's face was red as she shook her head. "I think I'll pass. I'll help you guys watch and prevent others from disturbing you." Qing He pulled Qing Yao and said, "Big sis, don't be so stubborn. Don't persist anymore. Look at yourself now. I don't mind at all." Hearing this, Qing Yao did not insist. She was pulled to the ground by Qing He and joined in. Xian Yi, who had been chasing after the 12th generation celestial evil, would never have thought that the woman he had begged was doing it with another man. She was sitting on a man's body like a slut. This was because they had been suppressing themselves for a long time and were now venting. This continued until the next night, and there were indescribable marks all over the grass. A bright moon hung in the deep blue sky, giving off gentle moonlight that shined on the ground. A light breeze blew past, causing the grass to ripple. Zhao Fu lay on the ground and looked at the bright moon in the sky. The other women lay on either side of Zhao Fu, and the ones closest to him were Bai Dandan and Qing Yao. They lay on Zhao Fu's shoulder as they panted. The cold woman and the flirtatious woman. Zhao Fu knew their names. One was Bing Qing, and the other was Lu Qianqian. Bai Dandan looked at Zhao Fu with her beautiful eyes and said, "What are your plans now? You can't stay here anymore, because the matter with the second king of kings will attract countless higher beings, and you might be dragged in." Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "Are you feeling better now? Don't cry. You're worried about me." Bai Dandan's face became red as she said coquettishly, "I'm talking to you nicely. Can you be more serious? Also, you made fun of me after doing this. I should have sent you flying with a palm." Zhao Fu laughed. Qin Yao said, "We were helping Zhao Fu collect heavenly spirit pearls so that he could awaken the spirit race's Emperor Star, but we never thought that something like this would happen. Now that the second king of kings has appeared in the spirit domain, things have become quite difficult." Lying on the other side, Yu Mao said in shock, "Wait, you're saying that you're helping Zhao Fu awaken the spirit race's Emperor Star? In other words, Zhao Fu has the potential to awaken the sovereign of the spirit race's Emperor Star?" Bai Dandan and the others also looked at Qin Yao in shock. Qin Yao smiled as she said, If Zhao Fu did not have such great potential, the Six Desire Celestial Sect would not be willing to pay any price to kill him, and the other factions would not be so desperate to kill him either. After all, Zhao Fu is already a great threat to them." Bai Dandan looked at Zhao Fu and lightly laughed as she said, "Looks like I underestimated you, the future sovereign." Lu Qianqian happily laughed as she said, "With Zhao Fu's terrifying potential, once he becomes a sovereign, it will be very difficult for anyone in the world to kill him. When that time comes, we won't have to worry about him dying." A trace of a smile appeared on Bing Qing's cold face as she said, "Right now, the most important thing is to help Zhao Fu awaken the spirit race's Emperor Star." Yu Mao said worriedly, "But things are quite difficult right now, because the second king of kings has appeared in the spirit domain. Countless higher beings have gathered in the spirit domain, and it's simply too dangerous. If we're not careful, we might be discovered. Moreover, I'm worried that Zhao Fu's chance of awakening the spirit race's Emperor Star will be taken away by the second king of kings. Awakening an Emperor Star is a matter that concerns a race, and it consumes a large amount of the race's fate. After awakening one, it will be very difficult to awaken another within 10 years. Qing He also started to worry. "I'm also worried about this. Even if we can hide from countless experts, it's possible that Zhao Fu will not be able to defeat the second king of kings, and the chance of awakening the spirit race's Emperor Star will be taken away by him." Zhao Fu smiled as he looked at the women around him. Higher beings were lofty existences with world-destroying power, and even Zhao Fu had to treat them with respect. He had never thought that he would be able to enjoy the treatment of so many higher beings today. However, because their cultivations were much higher than Zhao Fu's, the Six Desires demonic qi could not control them, and Zhao Fu did not dare to reveal his true identity. Chapter 25:19. Qin Yao thought about it and said, "There's only one way, which is for Zhao Fu to awaken the spirit race's Emperor Star as soon as possible. If the second king of kings awakens the spirit race's Emperor Star, Zhao Fu will not have a chance." Yu Mao said worriedly, "Is the second king of kings really that terrifying? Awakening the spirit race's Emperor Star is incredibly easy. Can we beat him?" Bing Qinglong nodded. "Perhaps the second king of kings has already started to awaken the spirit race's Emperor Star. Even though Zhao Fu has exceptional talent and will become a sovereign in the future, he's still a bit weaker than the second king of kings. Facing an existence like that, even sovereigns have to lower their heads." Lu Qianqian said dissatisfiedly, "Zhao Fu is our man, so don't underestimate him. Even if the second king of kings awakens the spirit race's Emperor Star, it's fine. At most, we'll find a place with Zhao Fu to live happily for 10 years. After 10 years, Zhao Fu will definitely awaken the spirit race's Emperor Star. Moreover, it's quite dangerous now, and the various factions of the spirit domain are searching for Zhao Fu to kill him. We can use this opportunity to hide from them." A trace of a smile appeared on Yu Mao's face as she said, "I feel that this is a good idea. Let's choose a place and live like this every day. How happy would that be?" Bai Dandan's face became red as she said, "I'll listen to Zhao Fu. If Zhao Fu wants to do this, I'll accompany him." Bai Dandan had never thought that things would turn out like this. She had just come to take a look and might not even stop others from killing the 12th celestial bastard. However, when she saw Zhao Fu, her heart once again started to beat, and she wanted Zhao Fu's love and comfort. Now her body and soul had been taken over by Zhao Fu. Not even the 9th celestial bastard had given her such a feeling, much less her husband. Qing Yao looked at Zhao Fu with her beautiful eyes and said, "Zhao Fu, what do you plan to do? If you want to avoid the second king of kings, we won't look down on you. We'll choose a place to stay with you for 10 years." Zhao Fu felt quite helpless. He was the second king of kings, and he could not compare to him. But he couldn't reveal his identity. "I don't want to hide for 10 years. I want to awaken the spirit race's emperor star now. I don't think I'll be any weaker than the second king of kings." Qing He happily laughed as he said, "Indeed, I was not wrong about you. I believe that my man will not be inferior to the second king of kings. Let's continue to collect Holy Spirit pearls. We must awaken the spirit race's emperor star before the second king of kings." Qing Yao chuckled. "I don't have any objections either. I also think that we can give it a try. If it doesn't work, we'll choose the second option." Bai Dandan looked at Zhao Fu and said with a smile, "I respect Zhao Fu's choice." Lu Qianqian giggled. "I don't have any objections, as long as it's like this every day." Bing Qing asked coldly, "How many heavenly spirit orbs have you collected? How many more do you need?" Zhao Fu replied, "Right now, we've only collected 3 heavenly spirit orbs, which are the golden heavenly spirit orb, wood heavenly spirit orb, and water heavenly spirit orb. We must collect the most basic heavenly spirit orbs of the 7 elements. Next are the wind, thunder, and ice heavenly spirit orbs. We also need the other elements. The more, the better." A trace of a smile appeared on Bing Qing's face as she said, "There's a heavenly spirit orb in the ice plains that I'm at. We can go there and obtain it now." Zhao Fu felt quite delighted. They had wanted to find out where the other heavenly spirit orbs were and had never thought that they would be able to obtain them so easily. "Let's go now then," Zhao Fu said as he smiled. Following this, everyone put on their clothes and flew over. After 2 days of traveling, they arrived at the ice plains. This place was completely white, and the ground was covered with a thick layer of ice. There were some ice-type plants growing there, and the temperature here was quite low. It was quite cold, and ordinary people could freeze to death here. There were very few people here, and there were no signs of living creatures. There was only the sound of the wind. Bing Qing said calmly, "There are very few people here. If the plan fails, we can hide here and wait for 10 years. You and me looked around and said, 'Your place is too cold, and there's nothing here. It's better to go to my place.'" Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "We can talk about these things later. Where is the heavenly ice spirit orb?" Bing Qing replied, "It's in the depths of the ice plains. It's extremely cold there, and even a higher being might be frozen there." Qing He laughed as he said, "Now that we have 6 higher beings, it shouldn't be too difficult for us." Following this, everyone flew towards the depths of the ice plains. A few hours later, they arrived before a massive crack in the ice, and the heavenly ice spirit orb was at the depths of the crack. The crack gave off an extremely cold, white aura, and if a world realm expert were to enter it, they would be frozen in just a short while. The women stood around Zhao Fu and stretched out a hand, causing powerful waves of power to flow out, forming a rainbow-colored defensive barrier that gave off an incredibly terrifying power. The extreme cold aura did not affect it at all. This was a defensive barrier condensed by 6 higher beings, and it was incredibly tough and powerful. It could block a full-powered attack from a higher being. Zhao Fu stayed at the center of the defensive barrier and did not have to do anything. The group flew towards the crack, and the terrifying cold aura gave off the power to freeze everything as it rushed towards them. The defensive barrier blocked out all of the cold aura, and they did not feel any coldness within the barrier. They continued to fly towards the crack. As they went deeper and deeper, the surroundings became colder and colder, and a layer of white frost formed on the powerful defensive barrier. In the end, the group landed at the bottom of the crack in the ice, and they felt as if they had entered a world of ice. There was thick ice everywhere, and it could reflect people's appearances. It was incredibly cold here, and the defensive barrier seemed to have been frozen with a layer of ice forming on its surface. If they stayed here and did not unleash the defensive barrier, it was possible that even Zhao Fu would be frozen. The group continued onwards. Roar, roar, roar. Massive roars sounded out as massive ice bears gave off terrifying auras as they rushed at the group. Facing so many terrifying ice beasts, the group looked quite relaxed and did not seem to be making any progress. Bing Qingling stretched out a hand, and a powerful wave of ice energy spread out as she vigorously grabbed out. Bang! 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 Massive icicles shot out from the ground very quickly, piercing through the ice bears' bodies. The ice bears howled miserably as their bodies turned into countless chunks of ice and scattered. Bing Qingling had powerful ice spiritual energy, and she had a great advantage here. The group continued onwards, and even more ice beasts ran out. However, they did not affect Zhao Fu and the others at all, and they were all killed by them. Zhao Fu did not have to do anything at all. Chapter 25:20. Finally, the group came to a platform. At this moment, the platform was made of ice, and it was 2 meters tall and 1,000 meters wide. The ground was like an ice mirror, and at the center of the platform floated an egg-sized ball of ice. There was a white cold air inside that moved irregularly. Bing Qinglong said, "This is an ownerless heavenly ice spirit pearl, and it has a very strong spirituality. If you directly go and grab it, it will immediately turn into cold air and disappear, making it very difficult to catch it." Zhao Fu asked, "What method should we use to catch it now?" Bing Qinglong said, "We will use our spiritual perception to seal it, making it unable to escape. I don't have full confidence that I can do it alone, so I will need the help of the other sisters." Qing Yao lightly laughed and said, "We will listen to whatever you say now." Following this, the others followed Bing Qinglong's words and stood in 6 different directions on the platform. They closed their eyes, and a powerful wave of spiritual perception spread out, forming an invisible square that wrapped around the ice platform. The 6 of them controlled their spiritual perception, and the invisible square became smaller and smaller. When it was a few meters away from the Heavenly Ice Spirit Pearl, the Heavenly Ice Spirit Pearl released a large amount of cold air that rushed towards the ground. However, the cold air seemed to hit something and bounce back. The invisible square was formed from spiritual perception. Before, it was said that spiritual perception was a kind of spiritual energy that could restrain spirituality. The Heavenly Ice Spirit Pearl had a powerful spirituality, which was why it was trapped by the square. The Heavenly Ice Spirit Pearl panicked, and it turned into countless cold air that rushed to the right, but it hit the square's wall and bounced back. Boom! An explosion sounded out, and the Heavenly Ice Spirit Pearl released a powerful cold air that continuously ran around, hitting the square, making muffled sounds as it tried to rush out. However, the invisible square was condensed from the spiritual perception of the 6 powerhouses, and it was extremely sturdy. No matter how much the Heavenly Ice Spirit Pearl hit it, it did not cause any damage. The invisible square became smaller and smaller until it became the size of a fist, and the Heavenly Ice Spirit Pearl was trapped within it, unable to move at all. Bing Qinglong's face revealed a smile, and she reached out with her hand, causing the invisible square to fly into her hand. An icy flame gushed out from her palm and wrapped around the incorporeal cube. The icy flame invaded the cube and eroded the Heavenly Ice Spirit Pearl. Right now, Bing Qingling was refining the Heavenly Ice Spirit Bead. If she did not refine the Heavenly Ice Spirit Bead, the next bead in her hand would turn into countless cold chi and dissipate. This kind of refinement would also weaken the spirituality of the Heavenly Ice Spirit Orb. Finally, the invisible square body dispersed, and the heavenly ice spirit pearl quietly floated above Bing Qing's cold palm. Bing Qing Lung walked in front of Zhao Fu and handed the heavenly ice pearl to Zhao Fu. A trace of a smile appeared on Zhao Fu's face as he carefully examined the heavenly ice spirit orb and put it away. He now had a fourth heavenly spirit orb. Without their help, it would have been very difficult for Zhao Fu to obtain these holy spirit pearls with his own abilities. He would not have been able to obtain them so easily. Qing Yao smiled at the others and said, "You guys know where the sky spirit pearl is?" The women all started to think about the information regarding the heavenly spirit pearl. Bai Dandan thought of something and said seriously, "I remember that there's a faction that has two heavenly spirit pearls, the Yin spirit pearl and the Yang spirit pearl." Zhao Fu was quite surprised. The Yin-Yang heaven spirit pearl was a must-have, and he would be able to obtain two of them at once. As long as he obtained these two Yin-Yang heaven spirit pearls, along with the metal, wood, and water heavenly spirit pearls, he would be able to obtain them. Finally, he would need the Yin-Yang 5 elemental spirit pearls, and only the earth heavenly spirit pearl and the water heavenly spirit pearl. Zhao Fu smiled and asked, "Which faction is it?" "Let's go now," Bai Dandan reminded. "That faction is called the Yin-Yang Spirit Sect, and it is one of the top 10 factions of the spirit realm. It might be very difficult to obtain their Yin-Yang spirit pearl, and it might even be life-threatening." Yucat said, "I also thought that the Yin-Yang Spirit Sect definitely has Yin-Yang Spirit Pearls, but the Yin-Yang Spirit Sect is not to be trifled with. It said that there might be a half-celestial hidden there, and ordinary higher beings don't dare to invade. Let's go somewhere else and try." Zhao Fu thought about it and smiled as he said, "Let's go and have a look first. If it doesn't work, we'll go somewhere else and collect information about other heavenly spirit pearls." Qing Yao smiled and nodded. "Let's continue then." The group left the ice plains and spent a few days before teleporting to a city near the Yin-Yang spirit sect. They first found an inn and asked for a room. Bai Dandan suddenly thought of something and said apologetically, "Zhao Fu, I need to leave for a while." Zhao Fu asked curiously, "What's wrong?" Bai Dandan said worriedly, "I need to send a message to my ex-husband to tell him not to wait for me and to make things clear. Do you mind?" Zhao Fu stretched out a hand and lifted her snow-white chin as he smiled and said, "It's fine, I don't mind. I quite like your identity as a wife." A blush appeared on Bai Dandan's face as she said coquettishly, "You only know how to bully me. I'll take care of you when I come back." Zhao Fu lightly nodded in agreement. Bai Dandan then left with a smile, like a little girl in love. Qing Yao said, "Let's split into two groups. One group will collect information about the Yin-Yang Spirit Sect, while the other will collect information about the Yin-Yang Spirit Sect." Lu Qianqian went up and hugged Zhao Fu as she said happily, "I want to be in the same group as Zhao Fu." Yucat also went up and hugged Zhao Fu. "I also want to be in the same group as Zhao Fu." Qing he snorted unhappily. "Everyone wants to be in the same group as Zhao Fu. What should we do?" Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "I'll go and collect information about the Yin-Yang Spirit Sect by myself. You guys go and collect information about the other heavenly spirit pearls. The more, the better." Qing he thought about it and felt that this was the best solution. No one was by Zhao Fu's side, so he replied, "All right." He then looked at Yucat and Lu Qianqian, who were hugging Zhao Fu. Yucat and Lu Qianqian looked quite unhappy and let go of Zhao Fu. Lu Qianqian kissed Zhao Fu and said, "Hurry up. We'll take good care of you tonight." Zhao Fu smiled as he nodded. Following this, everyone left the room. The women separated from Zhao Fu and went to collect information about the heavenly spirit pearls. They might not be in this city, but somewhere far away. Zhao Fu would collect information near the Yin-Yang spirit sect to see if he could obtain Yin-Yang spirit pearls. Because this place was near the Yin-Yang spirit sect, Zhao Fu was able to easily collect a large amount of information about the sect. The Yin-Yang spirit sect's strength was quite terrifying, and they had 9 higher beings. As for the legendary half-immortal, Zhao Fu could not be sure as the information was quite vague. Chapter 25-21 After hearing about the yin-yang spirit sect, Zhao Fu started to prepare to sneak into the yin-yang spirit sect. Bam! A muffled sound sounded out as an ordinary-looking young man was kicked away and fell to the ground, coughing up a mouthful of blood. A brutal-looking young man said disdainfully, "Lu San, I already said that you're not a match for me. Be obedient and hand over that thing, or else I'll be heavy-handed. Don't ask for trouble." Lu San was the young man who had been kicked away, and he looked at the brutal-looking young man furiously. He had just exchanged for a treasure from the sect, and that brutal-looking young man had come to steal it. He knew that the brutal-looking young man was called Shangmi, and he often bullied others with his strength. He had been bullied by Shangmi many times, and he really wanted to kill Shangmi, but he was not a match for him. Even though the treasure was important, his safety was more important. Even if he did not hand it over, it would be taken away in the end. In the end, Lu San could only take out the milky white jade. This jade was called the spiritual jade, and it could increase one's cultivation speed. He had saved up points for a long time to exchange for it. Now that he had handed it over, Lu San felt incredibly furious, but he had no choice but to hand it over. Shami looked at the white jade and smiled as he stretched out his hand and grabbed at it. The white jade automatically flew into his hand, and he did not even look at Lu San as he walked to the side. To him, Lu San was weak and had poor talent. Even if he cultivated, he would not be a match for him, so he did not take him seriously. Looking at Shangmi leave, Lu San thought to himself furiously that he would definitely become stronger than him in the future and return all the humiliation he had suffered 100 times over. Following this, Lu San took a mission and left the sect. Suddenly, a person wearing a black cloak blocked in front of him. Lu San could sense that his aura was very weak, and he was very angry. So he said impolitely, "Why are you blocking in front of me? If you have nothing to do, scram." Zhao Fu did not dare to sneak into the yin-yang spirit sect with his real body, as it was too dangerous. Once he was discovered, Zhao Fu would not be able to escape. Therefore, Zhao Fu wanted to find a yin-yang spirit sect disciple to control him and then use him to sneak into the yin-yang spirit bead to see if he could obtain it. Now that Zhao Fu had encountered this person, a trace of a smile appeared on his face. There was no need for him to say anything, and a powerful wave of demonic energy flowed out. Sensing that terrifying dark aura, Lu San's body became icy cold, and his face became pale as he ran away in fear. A massive pale white vine quickly flew out from the ground and wrapped around Lu San's body. Lu San continuously struggled in terror, but was unable to break free, and a massive wave of demonic chi entered him. Soon, Lu San's body stopped struggling, and his fearful expression became dull. Zhao Fu's consciousness entered his brain and got all the information about Lu San. After that, Zhao Fu hid in a secluded corner and controlled Lu San's body to return to the yin-yang immortal sect. According to the information, the yin-yang spirit sect's yin-yang spirit bead was placed in a yin-yang tower. This yin-yang tower was 1,000 meters tall and had 33 levels. It was where the yin-yang spirit sect disciples cultivated, and each level corresponded to a different cultivation speed. The first level had the slowest cultivation speed, and the highest level, the 33rd level, had the fastest cultivation speed. The yin-yang spirit bead was placed at the top, and it was the core item of the yin-yang tower. It absorbed heaven and earth spirit chi and helped countless disciples cultivate. Entering the place required points, and Zhao Fu took out a command token. He saw that he still had some points, which was enough to enter the place. Zhao Fu controlled Lu San's body and walked towards the yin-yang tower. A while later, Zhao Fu arrived in front of the yin-yang tower. The yin-yang tower was on a small hill, and there was a Tai Chi diagram at the top. It slowly spun and absorbed heaven and earth spirit chi, and it was surrounded by lush green grass. It was like a carpet covering the ground. There did not seem to be any danger around, but it was filled with powerful restrictions. Anyone who entered would definitely be blasted to pieces. Zhao Fu held the command token and continued to walk forward. The yin-yang tower shot out a ray of light and landed on Zhao Fu. The points on Zhao Fu's command token quickly disappeared. An array of light covered his body. Zhao Fu continued to walk towards the yin-yang tower. Because of the light on his body, Zhao Fu was not attacked by the restrictions. He entered the first level of the yin-yang tower, and there were many people sitting cross-legged around. There could be tens of thousands of them, and they were cultivating with their eyes closed. Zhao Fu closed his eyes and sensed it. The surrounding heaven and earth spirit qi was quickly entering everyone's body, which could increase the speed of cultivation. However, it was too slow for Zhao Fu. This time, Zhao Fu was not here to cultivate, so he did not pay too much attention to these things and walked toward the second level. There was a layer of barrier on the stairs to the second level. If he wanted to enter the second level, he had to shatter this barrier. This was not difficult for Zhao Fu. He stretched out his hand and grabbed. The barrier in front of him was torn apart like a thin piece of paper. Zhao Fu stepped onto the stairs to the second level. When he arrived at the second level, there were fewer people cultivating here. However, there were still many people, and the speed of cultivation increased again. Zhao Fu did not pay too much attention to it. He walked towards the stairs to the third level and casually waved his hand. The barrier in front of him shattered. Then, Zhao Fu arrived at the third level. There were fewer people on the third level, and the speed of cultivation increased. Xiao Chun continued to walk towards the fourth level. When he arrived at the fourth level, he was about to head there when a surprised voice rang out. 6-3, how did you come to the fourth level? Zhao Fu turned his head to the side and saw a rude youth looking at him in surprise. Zhao Fu searched through 6-3's memories and found out his identity. This person was Shangmi, who had just snatched 6-3's psychic jade. Because the psychic jade could increase the speed of cultivation, after he snatched it, he could not help but come to the yin-yang tower to see how effective it was. He was very satisfied with the result. With the psychic jade and in the yin-yang tower, his cultivation speed was extremely fast. He believed that he would be able to break through to the next stage soon. Just as he was feeling happy, he realized that 6-3, who he had just snatched, had come to the fourth level. How did he have the strength to come to the fourth level? With his strength, he could only be on the third level at most. It was impossible for him to come to the fourth level, which was why he was so surprised. At the same time, he felt threatened because those who came to the fourth level had the strength to fight with him. However, he could not understand why the person he had easily defeated and humiliated had become so strong in the blink of an eye. This was too fast. Zhao Fu had not erased 6-3's consciousness. He looked at Shangmi in anger. Zhao Fu controlled 6-3's lips to curl up, revealing a domineering smile. Do you have a problem with me coming to the fourth level? Shangmi's expression changed. He felt that 6-3 was like a different person. He was domineering and dangerous. In the past, he would not have dared to speak to him like this. Chapter 25-22. Just what was going on. In just the blink of an eye, not only had Lu San become stronger, but his aura had also changed, making him seem like a completely different person. Hearing Lu San's provocative words, Shangmi, who was used to being arrogant, felt quite unconvinced and said coldly, "Don't think that you could defeat me just because you can reach the fourth level. I advise you to behave, or else I won't let you off so easily." Zhao Fu lightly laughed and said provocatively, "You can try." Shangmi was infuriated and gave off a powerful aura as he rushed up and punched towards Zhao Fu's head with enough power to shatter mountains. Zhao Fu stood there with a condescending gaze and slowly stretched out a finger. Bang! An explosion sounded out as a powerful gale blew out in all directions. Shangmi's ferocious punch had been blocked by Zhao Fu's finger, and Shangmi looked quite disbelieving. The others who had been cultivating with their eyes closed were affected by the gale and opened their eyes. Seeing this scene, they could not help but exclaim, "So powerful!" Seeing this scene, Lu San's consciousness said excitedly, "Sir, I don't know why you've taken over my body, but as long as you can help me teach this person a lesson, I'm willing to give my body to you." Seeing how powerful Zhao Fu was, Lu San wanted to take revenge. Even though he would not be able to do it himself, he would be able to use his body to teach Shangmi a lesson. Zhao Fu did not care too much about Lu San's words because Lu San could not resist at all. Zhao Fu could kill his consciousness at any time, and he looked at Shangmi facing Zhao Fu's gaze. Shangmi instinctively felt afraid and retracted his fist as he retreated a few steps. Zhao Fu gave a teasing smile as he walked over and asked, "Why aren't you continuing?" Shangmi said fearfully, "I was wrong. I want to apologize to you." Shangmi knew that he could not defeat Lu San, and he felt immense fear towards Lu San. He had never thought that Lu San would become so terrifying. Zhao Fu chuckled. "An apology must be sincere. Kneel down now." Hearing this, Shangmi said angrily, "Don't go too far." Zhao Fu ignored Shangmi's words and stared at him. "I'll give you one more chance. Kneel." Shangmi had an awkward expression on his face. On one hand, he didn't want to kneel. On the other hand, he was afraid of Zhao Fu's terrifying power. Zhao Fu did not want to waste any more time. He stretched out a hand and made a flicking motion, and a powerful wave of energy gathered in his hand. Boom! With a flick of his finger, a loud explosion rang out, and a powerful force ferociously shot towards Shangmi. Shangmi was shocked and put his hand in front of him. Bang! Shangmi's body was sent flying by that massive power, and he crashed to the ground and coughed up a large mouthful of blood. His hands were covered with gashes, from which blood continuously flowed out. He looked quite wretched. Lu San felt incredibly happy. He had always wanted to take revenge on Shangmi. The others looked quite nervous and serious, not daring to say anything. They understood that Zhao Fu was far more powerful than them, and they were afraid that they would accidentally anger Zhao Fu and end up like Shangmi. Shangmi lay on the ground and looked at Zhao Fu in fear. He took out a few things and said, "These are all your things. I'll give them back to you. Please let me off this time." Zhao Fu glanced at the things in his hands and naturally did not care for them. He waved his hand disinterestedly, and a wave of energy once again blasted Shangmi away, causing him to cough up blood. The things in his hands fell to the ground. After suffering this attack, Shangmi's face looked quite pale, and it seemed that his injuries were not light. Zhao Fu did not continue and planned to head to the 5th level. At that moment, a strong-looking young man came down from the 5th level and coldly looked at Zhao Fu. "I heard that someone bullied my junior apprentice brother. It was you." Looking at the strong-looking young man, Shangmi cried out in delight, "Senior apprentice brother, you have to help me take revenge. He beat me to this state and even knelt down for me. This is an insult to you and master." The strong-looking young man's expression became even colder, and a trace of viciousness appeared in his eyes as he asked, "Is what my junior apprentice brother said true?" Zhao Fu said disdainfully, "Scram now. I don't want to waste time." Hearing this, everyone present felt quite startled and understood that this battle was unavoidable. They knew that expert young man, and he was quite powerful. They did not dare to offend him while cultivating on the 7th level. The strong-looking young man said ferociously, "Looking at you, you're just a low-level disciple, and yet you dare to speak so arrogantly. If I don't cripple your arms and legs today, you really won't know your place." Boom! A massive aura exploded out from the strong-looking young man's body, causing the atmosphere to become quite heavy. Everyone felt a trace of fear in their hearts. The strong-looking young man gave off a terrifying aura and charged at Zhao Fu like a ferocious beast, making it seem as if no one could stop him. "Ha!" A clear sound rang out as Zhao Fu faced the strong-looking young man charging at him. With a simple wave, a terrifying power slapped the young man's face, sending him flying and crashing into the crowd, causing everyone to cry out. The strong-looking young man fell to the ground, and the left side of his face was already swollen and blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Shangmi looked terrified. What was going on? He was only at 63%. How could he have such terrifying power? Everyone in the surroundings looked terrified. They had underestimated Zhao Fu and had never thought that he would be able to injure the strong-looking young man so badly with a single slap. Zhao Fu looked at the strong-looking young man lying on the ground and said disdainfully, A piece of trash dares to speak to me like this? The strong-looking young man felt incredibly humiliated and roared as he crawled up from the ground. He released all of his power, and a massive black aura flame appeared around his body as he rushed at Zhao Fu with a terrifying aura. "Pah!" A clear sound rang out as Zhao Fu casually waved his hand, and a massive wave of power slapped the other side of the strong-looking young man's face. The strong-looking young man was sent flying far away and crashed into a wall. He coughed up a large mouthful of blood and fainted. Everyone looked shocked. They felt that this person had completely suppressed the strong-looking young man. They were not on the same level at all. Xiaomi looked quite afraid and lowered his head, not daring to say anything. Zhao Fu did not continue to waste time here and headed to the 5th level. Seeing Zhao Fu disappear into the 4th level, everyone inwardly let out a sigh of relief before bursting into an uproar. They started to discuss what had just happened and try to find out who that person was. They were filled with curiosity towards that person. News quickly spread that a low-grade disciple had brutally beaten up a low-grade disciple, and that his power was unfathomable. Chapter 25-23. Zhao Fu directly went to the 5th floor and did not waste any time. He walked past the 6th floor and came to the 7th floor. There were much fewer people here, and the cultivation speed was much faster. As soon as Zhao Fu arrived, a group of people looked at Zhao Fu. Some looked unfriendly, some looked serious, and some looked like they were watching a show. Facing these people, Zhao Fu did not do much and continued to walk towards the 8th floor. At that moment, a bearded young man said with a displeased expression, "As a low-grade disciple, why didn't you pay your respects to us? Also, the person you beat up on the 4th floor was someone from our faction." Zhao Fu stopped and turned to look at the bearded young man. "Oh? So what? If you want to die, then hurry up. I don't have time to talk to you." The bearded young man said furiously, "Don't be too arrogant. There are many people stronger than you in the Yin-Yang Tower." Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "Is that so? But so what?" The bearded young man looked quite angry, but he did not make a move because he did not have the confidence to defeat Zhao Fu. Seeing how arrogant Zhao Fu was, he could not help but speak up. A tall and beautiful woman in a blue dress with an outstanding aura stood up and said, "I want to spar with you." Zhao Fu continued to walk toward the 8th floor and said, "I'm not interested." The woman's expression became serious, and she waved her hand. A massive wave of power turned into a white bird that quickly flew toward Zhao Fu, looking quite terrifying. Just as the white bird was about to pierce through Zhao Fu's body instantly disappeared and reappeared behind the woman. The woman was greatly shocked and hurriedly tried to retreat to the side. However, Zhao Fu stretched out his hand and pulled the woman into his embrace. The woman frantically struggled, but could not break free from Zhao Fu's grasp. The woman furiously cried out, "Bastard! Let go of me!" Zhao Fu stretched out a hand and pinched the woman's chin as he smiled and said, "It seems like you attacked me first. Why does it seem like I'm in the wrong now?" The woman glared at Zhao Fu and said angrily, "I want to compete with you, not be teased by you." Zhao Fu lightly laughed and lightly sniffed the woman. Looking at the woman's pretty face, he said in her ear, "I'm going to tease you now." The woman blushed and struggled angrily. "This is the Yin-Yang Tower. If you dare to do anything, the Elder will not let you off." Everyone else also looked furious as they watched this woman being teased in front of them. Some of them knew this woman and had a good relationship with her. Some people were still afraid of Zhao Fu's power and did not dare to say anything to offend Zhao Fu. However, some people could not take it anymore. A beautiful woman was being teased by an extremely vulgar person. He stood up and said angrily, "Let go of her. You're powerful by yourself, but don't forget that we don't have many people here. We're all high-level disciples. Even if we cripple you, we won't be punished. However, a low-level disciple like you has already broken the sex rules. I advise you to be more obedient." Zhao Fu looked at them and provocatively kissed the woman's cheek. The woman cried out in embarrassment and anger, "I'll definitely kill you." A few of the people who stood up to speak felt furious and gave off their auras as they rushed at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu stretched out a hand and disdainfully waved it, and a massive wave of power blasted out, giving off an unstoppable aura as it flew towards them. Bang! Bang! A few muffled sounds sounded out as the people who had rushed over were sent flying and crashed to the ground. They coughed up a large mouthful of blood, and their faces became pale. The people in the surroundings felt quite shocked. Now that they had personally seen how terrifying this person was, they did not dare to say anything. A trace of fear appeared on the woman's face. This sort of power was not something that she could defend against. Zhao Fu hugged the woman with one hand and pinched her chin with the other as he smiled and said, "Be more obedient next time, or else I won't let you off." Following this, Zhao Fu let go of the woman and walked towards the 8th level. The woman stood there and angrily looked at Zhao Fu, not daring to say anything. At the same time, she felt quite curious. Just who was this person? She did not care. Zhao Fu was just a low-level disciple. How could a low-level disciple have such great power? Zhao Fu walked to the 8th level, and the people here opened their eyes and looked at Zhao Fu. They already knew what had happened below. They just looked at Zhao Fu and did not do anything. They felt quite wary of Zhao Fu and did not want to have any conflict with Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu glanced at them and continued to walk towards the 9th level. After coming to the 9th level, Zhao Fu saw a few people furiously glaring at him as if they had enmity with him. It was most likely related to the people below. Zhao Fu looked at those people and said condescendingly, "What? Do you have any complaints about me?" The white-clothed young man said furiously, "You hit our people and took liberties with our junior apprentice sister. Do you think we have any complaints about you?" Zhao Fu smiled as he said, Hurry up and take revenge for your junior apprentice sister. She's quite fragrant." The white-clothed young man was extremely furious and glared at Zhao Fu as he said, "I know I'm not a match for you, but the higher-ups will take care of you. When that time comes, I'll make you kneel and apologize to the others." "Ha!" A clear sound rang out as Zhao Fu waved his hand, and a wave of energy slapped the white-clothed young man's face, sending him flying. Zhao Fu condescendingly laughed as he said, "You know you can't beat me, and yet you dare to speak to me like this?" The others could not take it anymore and roared as they exploded out with powerful energy and charged at Zhao Fu from different directions. For them to be able to stay on the 9th level, it meant that they were not weak and were much stronger than Shangmi. However, to Zhao Fu, they were still a bit weak. The first person charged at Zhao Fu and sent a powerful energy into his palm, causing it to give off a black light and look like a sharp knife. That person rushed in front of Zhao Fu and stabbed toward Zhao Fu's throat with his knife-like hand. He was incredibly fast, drawing out a gash in the air. That person felt quite confident in this attack. Even if he could not injure Zhao Fu, he would be able to suppress his arrogance and not think that he was invincible. In the next second, he looked at Zhao Fu's cold eyes and felt quite startled. At that moment, Zhao Fu stretched out a hand and grabbed that person's arm. He forcefully squeezed, and the sound of bones breaking could be heard. Ark! That person felt in intense pain and let out a mournful scream. Chapter 25-24. The expression of one of the people who had rushed over fell, and his palm gave off a powerful force as he slapped toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu wanted to save that person. Zhao Fu coldly laughed as he grabbed that person's arm and vigorously swung, sending that person flying and crashing into another person who was about to attack. Bang! A muffled sound rang out as the two people were sent flying and heavily crashed to the ground, and a trace of blood leaked out of their mouths. The third person appeared behind Zhao Fu and had a savage look on his face as he vigorously kicked toward Zhao Fu. The fourth and fifth person grasped this opportunity and rushed in different directions, attacking Zhao Fu together. Their attacks were incredibly ferocious. Zhao Fu stood where he was and did not move at all. Just as the three people were about to attack, Zhao Fu boom! A massive explosion sounded out as a terrifying power exploded out from Zhao Fu's body. It gave off an unstoppable aura and sent the three people flying back. They crashed to the ground and coughed up a large mouthful of blood. That terrifying aura enveloped the entire 9th level, causing countless people to feel an intense fear in their hearts. Their expressions were extremely unsightly to behold. This person was too terrifying, unimaginably terrifying. Zhao Fu condescendingly looked at the people around him and said, "Do any of you have any objections?" Everyone did not dare to face Zhao Fu's gaze, and they obediently lowered their heads and submitted to Zhao Fu. The expressions of the people who had been knocked to the ground were quite unsightly. They had greatly underestimated Zhao Fu's strength and did not dare to say anything else. Seeing this scene, Lu San's consciousness felt incredibly good. He was filled with excitement and joy, and he could not even speak. Now, he could do whatever he wanted. In the past, he had not dared to get close to those beautiful women, but now he could take liberties with them. Those who he had respected and feared were now trampled underfoot by him. This was what he had been pursuing all this time, and he had finally achieved it. After experiencing this once, he could accept it even if his body was taken over by someone else. He didn't know who the person controlling him was. He was really powerful, and his identity was definitely not simple. Also, he couldn't figure out what his goal was. Zhao Fu did not mind those people and came to the 9th level's barrier. The 9th level's barrier was not weak and gave off a tough aura. Boom! Zhao Fu casually punched out, instantly shattering the defensive barrier. Countless fragments flew out, and the barrier in front of Zhao Fu disappeared. The terrifying aura emanating from Zhao Fu also surged up the stairs to the 10th floor. Everyone who was sitting cross-legged on the ground and cultivating with their eyes closed open their eyes and looked at the staircase. Their faces revealed a trace of fear, as if someone extremely dangerous was about to come up. Dong! 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 The sound of footsteps could be heard, and everyone's hearts tensed up as they stared at the staircase. Some people didn't know what was going on and said in horror, "What's going on? This aura is so terrifying. It's filled with darkness and evil. This is the first time I've felt such a terrifying aura. Now that I feel this terrifying aura, my body is trembling, and I instinctively fear this terrifying power. I wonder who gave off such terrifying power. I don't remember anyone in the Yin-Yang spirit sect being this terrifying. I'm also curious about what happened." That's right. This feeling is even more evil and dark than ordinary demonic qi. If it wasn't for the fact that it contained a lot of spirit qi, I would definitely think that a ferocious demon was about to come up. A few people who knew about this matter said, "I just heard that there's a disciple who, for some reason, suddenly obtained a very terrifying power and beat up a group of high-grade disciples. Moreover, he is extremely arrogant and domineering." Hearing this, some people looked shocked. What? A low-grade disciple? That can't be. How could a low-grade disciple suddenly have such terrifying power? The person who spoke replied, "I just heard about it and don't know what happened. I haven't seen that low-grade disciple before, but he's about to go up to the 10th level. We'll be able to see this terrifying person soon." Dong, dong, dong. The sound of footsteps rang out incessantly. It was as if the footsteps were ringing in everyone's mind. Everyone's heart tensed up. After a while, Zhao Fu walked to the 10th floor and saw that everyone was staring at him. When everyone saw Zhao Fu, they all looked quite surprised. He was simply too ordinary looking. He didn't seem like someone who emitted such a terrifying aura. Now, Zhao Fu was controlling Lu San's body, and Lu San's body was very ordinary. If it was Zhao Fu's real body, they would definitely feel inferior. Zhao Fu looked at the pairs of eyes staring at him. He said coldly, "What do you want?" Hearing this, everyone hurriedly shook their heads. They did not want to fight with such a person. Even if a battle broke out, their side would definitely be the side that would be completely oppressed. Zhao Fu didn't say anything else and walked towards the 11th floor. Boom! An explosion sounded out as the barrier to the 11th floor was shattered by a punch from Zhao Fu, and Zhao Fu arrived at the 11th floor. The people here also looked at Zhao Fu nervously and fearfully, but Zhao Fu didn't care too much and continued to walk upwards. The people on the lower floors also heard about this. A young man looked shocked and said in admiration, "So powerful. That person has already reached the 13th floor and is still continuing. I wonder what floor he will reach." A skinny young man next to him said, "No matter what floor he reaches, his current strength is already greater than that of an ordinary inner court disciple. I don't even know his identity, nor do I know how he obtained such great strength." The ordinary-looking young man said, "I know him. He's called Lu San, and his strength is very ordinary. I met him yesterday, but he seems to have become a different person. He's terrifyingly powerful. I'm so envious." A decent-looking woman in a green dress said, "I want to know more about him. Even though he looks quite ordinary, he has such great strength. Perhaps he'll become a core disciple in a while. If we can become friends with him, there will be many benefits." A cold-looking woman in a white dress said, "I don't like people like him. He's too arrogant and overbearing. He's also shameless and takes liberties with women. I just hope that someone will teach him a lesson." A middle-aged man giving off a mature aura said, "Don't worry, someone will teach him a lesson. I don't think that person will go far, and I don't like his arrogant and overbearing personality." A fair-skinned young man nodded. "There are so many terrifying experts in the sect cultivating in the Yin-Yang building. There will definitely be someone who can defeat that person. Let's see if he still dares to be arrogant." Chapter 25:25. The gloomy-looking young man said in agreement, "No matter how powerful he is, he's just a low-grade disciple. There's a big difference between him and those truly high-grade disciples. I don't believe that he can go far. At most, he'll be able to reach the 20th level." An elder sighed as he said, "This child is too arrogant and domineering, and he doesn't know how to be humble and cautious. He'll definitely make countless enemies, and I don't think he'll live for long. It's a pity that he lost that power." Shangmi's expression was quite unsightly. He did not know how far Lu San could go, but he knew that Lu San was not someone he could afford to offend in the future. He was still wondering how Lu San had become so powerful in the blink of an eye and what sort of opportunity he had obtained. Now, he felt quite regretful. If he had known this would happen, he would not have bullied Lu San, and his future days would have been quite miserable. The woman who had been taken advantage of by Zhao Fu looked furious. She still remembered the scene of Zhao Fu taking advantage of her, and her reputation had been ruined by that fellow. She wanted to kill that fellow, but she understood that she could not do much with her strength. She just hoped that someone could help her take revenge and teach that fellow a lesson. By now, Zhao Fu had reached the 15th level. As soon as he entered, he saw a tall and handsome young man who seemed to be waiting for him. "Are you that arrogant low-grade disciple?" the tall young man asked as he looked at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu remembered that someone had said that someone would teach him a lesson on the previous levels, and it seemed that it was this young man. This young man was indeed very powerful and had reached the world realm. If it was his real body, Zhao Fu could easily defeat him, but right now, Zhao Fu was only using his consciousness to control Lu San's body, so he could not unleash his full power. However, Zhao Fu did not feel much fear and smiled as he said, "I am." The tall young man said with a cold expression, "I won't waste any words. I'm going to teach you a lesson. You can choose to apologize, and I'll let you off this time." Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "Hurry up and attack. My time is limited." Boom! The tall young man's expression became cold, and he gave off a massive aura as he rushed at Zhao Fu. He arrived in front of Zhao Fu and vigorously slammed his palm toward Zhao Fu, bringing with it an intense gale. Zhao Fu stretched out a hand, and a powerful demonic energy surged out, forming a black defensive barrier. Bang! A loud sound rang out as the palm slammed into the black barrier. The barrier only cracked a few times, but it did not shatter. The tall young man looked quite startled. Following this, a wave of energy flowed into his other hand, and a Taiji diagram appeared on his hand, giving off a powerful yin and yang energy. The tall youth continued to slap Zhao Fu with his palm. Boom! A loud explosion sounded out. The barrier was shattered by the palm, and countless fragments flew in all directions. A smile appeared on the tall young man's face as he continued to send a palm strike toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu's expression didn't change as he punched out with all his might. Bang! An explosion sounded out as the fist and palm collided with great power, causing a powerful gale to spread out. The people on the 15th level were no longer cultivating and were watching this battle from afar. Seeing that Zhao Fu had blocked his attack, the tall young man sent some energy into his other hand. A Taiji diagram appeared, and it gave off powerful yin and yang energy as it slammed toward Zhao Fu. At that moment, Zhao Fu gathered a large amount of demonic energy into his other fist. Countless traces of black and blood-red aura gathered, and Zhao Fu's fist was like a blooming flower. Bang! The Taiji diagram and the black and blood-red flower collided, and a terrifying shockwave spread out. Fortunately, the yin-yang building had powerful restrictions. If it was the ground, it would have long since collapsed. Zhao Fu did not move, but the tall young man took a few steps back with a serious expression. Zhao Fu looked at him and smirked as he said, "Now that you're done, it's my turn." In the next moment, Zhao Fu's body disappeared, and he instantly appeared before the tall young man, punching towards him. The tall young man felt quite startled and used his arm to blocking Zhao Fu's attack. Boom! A massive black and blood-red aura flowed out from Zhao Fu's body. Zhao Fu's power quickly rose, and the aura he gave off became more and more terrifying. Boom! The tall young man did not hesitate, and a black and white aura flame appeared around his body, giving off an even more intense aura. On one side was a black and white aura flame, while on the other was a black and blood-red aura flame. The two aura flames continuously clashed, creating wild gales. Roar! The aura flames around Zhao Fu's body continuously condensed, forming a monster with a tiger's head and a human's body, giving off a terrifying demonic power. The tall young man controlled the aura flames to continuously change, forming a black and white snake that gave off massive yin and yang power. Zhao Fu pushed his fist forwards, and the tiger-headed monster gave off immense power as it ferociously punched towards the tall young man. The tall young man controlled the black and white snakes, and they gave off immense power as they ferociously bit toward Zhao Fu. Bang! A massive sound rang out as countless rays of light shot out, and a powerful aura spread out. Everyone on the 15th level sensed this and felt a wave of fear in their hearts. After the light dissipated, the tall young man lay 10 or so meters away, a trace of blood leaking out of his lips and his face pale. However, Zhao Fu stood there unscathed. The tall young man's expression was quite unsightly. He had never thought that he would lose to this low-grade disciple. He felt quite resigned, but the truth was right in front of him, and he had no choice but to accept it. Zhao Fu looked at him and smiled as he said, "Do you want to continue?" The tall young man's expression softened as he said, "No need, you're stronger than me. I admit defeat." Zhao Fu lightly laughed and continued to walk towards the 16th level. The tall young man could not help but ask, "Just who are you? Why do you have such evil power?" Zhao Fu turned and looked at him as he said, "I definitely won't tell you that." The tall young man continued to say, "Then what's your goal?" Zhao Fu walked towards the staircase as he said, "You're so stupid. Can't you tell what I want to do?" The tall young man felt quite startled before feeling quite shocked. Seeing that Zhao Fu continuously went up, he wondered how far this person could go. After thinking about it, the tall young man felt that Zhao Fu would definitely surpass the 20th level. His power was simply too shocking. By now, the woman who had been harassed by Zhao Fu and the people who had been beaten up by Zhao Fu knew that the tall young man had been defeated by Zhao Fu, and their expressions became even more unsightly. The tall young man was the person they had hoped to teach a lesson to, but he had still lost. This meant that this person was not someone they could offend. Chapter 25-26. Soon, Zhao Fu came to the 16th level. Everyone was sitting cross-legged on the ground, and their eyes were wide open as they looked at Zhao Fu seriously. They could sense how terrifying Zhao Fu was. Zhao Fu did not pay much attention to these people, but as he looked around, he found that there was someone he knew, and there was some enmity between them. It was a tall and slim woman wearing a red dress, and she looked quite shrewd-looking. This woman was the person who had mistaken him for the 12th generation celestial spawn and had caused him to be hunted down by countless people. Seeing that Zhao Fu was looking at her, the shrewd-looking woman frowned. She did not recognize this man at all. Zhao Fu thought about it. He only had the evil demon power, so she most likely would not be able to discover his identity. As such, he smiled and walked over to the woman. Seeing Zhao Fu walk over, the woman in the red dress frowned and asked, "What do you want?" Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "I want you to become my female attendant." The woman said coldly, "Keep dreaming." Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "Then you can't blame me. Who told you to offend me first?" The woman looked quite confused. She did not even recognize this man. When had she offended him? She said, "You found the wrong person. We don't know each other." Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "I don't care. You only have one choice. Become my female attendant and listen to my orders in the future." The woman got up from the ground and said somewhat angrily, "You're quite powerful, but don't think that I'm afraid of you. If you anger me, I'll still teach you a lesson." Zhao Fu gave a provocative smile as he said, "You can give it a try." The woman looked furious and stretched out a hand, causing a massive wave of power to flow out and form a black whip. "Ha!" The woman in red flicked her hand, and the black whip gave off immense power as it lashed toward Zhao Fu, causing the air to explode. Zhao Fu did not move, and his body gave off countless rays of black light that formed a black energy barrier that covered Zhao Fu's body. The black whip lashed against the barrier with great force, causing a loud sound to ring out. However, it did not cause any damage to the barrier. The woman in the red dress was in disbelief. She waved the whip in her hand and lashed at Zhao Fu. However, she was still unable to harm Zhao Fu. Pa pa pa. The woman in red looked furious as she continuously swung the whip in her hand. The whip left behind afterimages as it continuously lashed against the defensive barrier, causing sounds and gusts of wind to blow. Bang! A cracking sound rang out. Under the relentless attacks of the woman in red, the defensive barrier was finally shattered. The woman in red gave a delighted smile and immediately swung the whip in her hand. The black whip gave off a terrifying power as it quickly lashed toward Zhao Fu. By now, Zhao Fu's arm had already become a plant, and he stretched out a hand to grab the whip. The woman in red looked quite surprised and tried to pull the whip back, but Zhao Fu's strength was simply too great and she was unable to do so. Zhao Fu disdainfully lightly laughed and pulled, causing the woman in red's body to leap toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu stretched out a hand and hugged the woman in red as he said, "You won't be able to run away now." The woman in red looked furious as she struggled and said, "Let go of me, you bastard." Seeing this scene, the people in the surroundings looked furious. Some of them had heard that Zhao Fu had taken liberties with a female disciple downstairs, and now that they had personally witnessed it, they felt even more furious. He was simply domineering to the extreme and was completely unbridled. Seeing a beautiful woman, he had taken liberties with her and did not care about the sex rules at all. They had never seen a low-grade disciple do such a thing before. "You can't do this." A gentle-looking young man mustered up his courage and stood out from the crowd as he said to Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu hugged the struggling woman in red and said, "It's best that you take back what you said, or else I'll break all your bones. When that time comes, it'll be too late for you to regret it." The gentle-looking young man looked quite afraid and said nervously, "The sect has sex rules. If you do this, you'll definitely be punished. I'm just trying to persuade you out of goodwill." Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "I'm not afraid of the sex rules." The woman in red said angrily, "Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you have a bit of power. When this matter is reported to the elders, you'll know that you're in the wrong. I won't let you off. I'll cut off your hands." Zhao Fu smiled as he stretched out a hand and pinched the woman's face as he said, "Do you believe that I won't strip you naked and violate you?" The woman in red angrily glared at Zhao Fu. Seeing how arrogant and domineering Zhao Fu was, it seemed that he really might violate her here. The woman in red felt quite afraid. She did not know when she had offended such a terrifying person. The surrounding people all looked furious and clenched their fists. This scene was simply too infuriating, and no one could continue watching it. Zhao Fu started to pour demonic qi into the woman in red's body. Now that she had caused Zhao Fu to be in such a state, it was impossible for Zhao Fu to let her off. The woman in red felt that power corroding her body and started to struggle in panic. "What are you doing?" Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "I already said that I want you to be my maidservant." The woman in red was so angry that her face turned red. "Who wants to be your maidservant? You bastard scum, I'm going to kill you." Seeing this, some people in the surroundings could not hold it in and wanted to act. Boom! A terrifying aura exploded out from Zhao Fu's body, spreading out like a flood and instantly inundating the 16th level. Everyone felt as if they had fallen into icy water and could not help but tremble. The people who had wanted to act looked at Zhao Fu in fear and did not dare to act. They had underestimated how powerful this man was. Sensing the power that Zhao Fu's body gave off, the woman in red felt a wave of terror and did not dare to continue struggling. Zhao Fu coldly looked at them and said, "You still dare to act against me?" Everyone felt quite afraid and did not dare to say anything. This person was simply too powerful and could completely suppress them. What big words! It's the first time I've seen someone be so domineering. A graceful, androgynous-looking woman wearing white robes came down from the upper level and looked at Zhao Fu with a trace of displeasure. Seeing this white-clothed woman, everyone felt quite delighted. This white-clothed woman was called by Yun Yun and was a core disciple of the sect. She was quite powerful and was currently cultivating on the 19th level. With her strength, perhaps she would be able to stop this bastard. Zhao Fu looked at her and said, "It's best if you know what's good for you and don't meddle in other people's business." Chapter 25-27. The white-clothed woman did not show any fear as she replied, "Oh, what can you do if I want to interfere?" Zhao Fu looked at her and said, "You're asking for trouble." Boom! A massive wave of demonic power flowed out of Zhao Fu's body, and one of Zhao Fu's eyes became a blood-red rose. A few massive pale white roots grew out of the air and shot towards the white-clothed woman. The white-clothed woman's expression fell, and she grabbed with her hand, causing a massive wave of black and white power to flow out and instantly form a black and white sword. Shing! A sword hum sounded out as the white-clothed woman swung her sword, and a sword light slashed out, cutting apart the pale white roots. Zhao Fu looked quite serious. This woman was quite powerful. After thinking about it, he let go of the woman in red. The woman in red immediately ran to the side, not wanting to stay by Zhao Fu's side. She still felt quite fearful. Boom! Zhao Fu's body instantly disappeared and reappeared in front of the woman in red. He punched out, giving off massive amounts of demonic power. A black blood-red flower seemed to grow out of Zhao Fu's fist, and it gave off immense power as it slammed towards the white-clothed woman. The white-clothed woman sent a massive amount of power into her sword and vigorously slashed out, sending out a black and white sword light containing shocking power towards Zhao Fu. Bang! The two terrifying powers clashed together, resulting in an intense explosion, and a shockwave rippled out. Just as the light dissipated, pale white roots grew out from the ground and shot towards the white-clothed woman. They were incredibly fast, wanting to bind her. The white-clothed woman once again vigorously slashed out with her sword, and a sword light flashed out, cutting apart the countless large roots. By now, Zhao Fu had appeared in the sky and punched downwards, giving off terrifying power as he slammed towards the white-clothed woman. The white-clothed woman felt quite startled, and her body gave off boundless black and white light as a Tai Chi diagram appeared in front of her. It slowly spun and gave off a tough yin and yang aura. Boom! Zhao Fu's fist slammed against the Tai Chi diagram, causing it to shatter into pieces, and the woman in white was forced back a few steps. The woman in white's expression was serious, and a powerful wave of yin and yang energy flowed out, forming tens of 5-meter-long swords of light, one black and one white, around her, giving off powerful sword auras. Xiao xiao xiao. The black and white swords of light gave off sharp power as they quickly shot toward Zhao Fu, leaving behind streaks of light. Zhao Fu stretched out a hand, which turned into countless pale white tendrils that gave off a ferocious aura as they shot towards the woman in white. Puff, puff, puff. The swords of light shot forward, cutting down the pale tendrils. However, there were too many tendrils, and they wrapped around the swords of light before shattering them. Countless pale tendrils continued to shoot towards the white-clothed woman. The white-clothed woman's expression fell, and she raised her sword, sending a massive amount of power into it. The sword gave off an intense black and white sword light as a shocking sword aura spread out. Zhao Fu also sent a massive amount of power into his arm, causing the countless pale tendrils to give off demonic aura. They ferociously shot towards the white-clothed woman as if they wanted to inundate her. Xing! The white-clothed woman raised her sword and slashed out, sending out a massive sword light that gave off a power that seemed to be able to cleave apart everything. The countless pale tendrils were instantly destroyed by the black and white sword light, causing their fragments to shoot everywhere. However, even more of the pale tendrils ferociously shot towards the white-clothed woman. Bang! A muffled explosion sounded out as the white-clothed woman was sent flying by the countless pale tendrils. She crashed to the ground, and a trace of blood leaked out of her lips. The countless pale tendrils ferociously shot towards the white-clothed woman, and all of them became sharp and gave off a cold light. They gave off immense power, as if they wanted to pierce through the white-clothed woman. The white-clothed woman dodged to the side, avoiding the countless pale tendrils. Clang, clang, clang. The ground was also abnormally hard. Sparks flew everywhere when the pale white roots shot out, but not a single mark was left on the ground. Zhao Fu looked at the white-clothed woman, and the countless pale white tendrils immediately changed direction and shot towards the white-clothed woman. The woman in white sent a massive amount of power into her sword, causing it to give off an intense black and white light. She vigorously slashed out, and a black and white flood dragon gave off terrifying power as it smashed towards the countless roots. Bang! Countless pale roots collided with the black and white flood dragon. Countless pale roots were smashed into pieces, and countless fragments flew everywhere. Even more pale roots pierced through the black and white flood dragon's body, shattering it. Suddenly, the white-clothed woman appeared in front of Zhao Fu, and her sword gave off terrifying power as she quickly stabbed toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu stood where he was and gave a cold smile. His body suddenly flowed out, turning into a tiger-headed, human-bodied monster that gave off massive power as it charged towards the woman in white. The woman in white had yet to react. Her body was sent flying by a massive force, and she crashed to the ground and coughed up a large mouthful of blood. Zhao Fu coldly laughed as he said, "You asked for it. I already told you not to cause trouble." Swish, swish, swish. Countless pale white tendrils gave off powerful auras as they continued to shoot towards the woman in white incredibly quickly. Suddenly, Zhao Fu sensed danger and stretched out a hand to the side, grabbing the incoming whip. He turned to look at the woman in red. Seeing that the woman in white had been injured because of her, the woman in red could not help but act, wanting to help the woman in white. However, Zhao Fu was simply too powerful, and she could not do much. Now, the whip was easily caught by Zhao Fu. The countless pale white tendrils did not slow down and quickly shot towards the woman in white, covering her body. Only then did Zhao Fu say to the woman in red, "Are you still going to resist?" The woman in red looked quite angry and did not know what to say. She did not want to become this man's maid, but this man's power was terrifying and she could not resist at all. She did not know when she had offended such a terrifying person. The people in the surroundings were also quite shocked. Even a powerful core disciple had been defeated by him. This person was simply too powerful. It was fortunate that they had not acted, or else they would have been beaten up. The woman in white, who was bound by the tendrils, said, "You'd best let go of me. My master is Yin Baiwe." Zhao Fu naturally did not know Yin Baiwe, but when the others heard this name, they felt quite startled. 6-3's consciousness hurriedly reminded him, "Lord, Yin Baiwe is our sect master's daughter, and now that she has become her disciple, it's best not to offend her." Zhao Fu looked at the woman in white and said, "So what? Do you think I'm afraid of you?" Chapter 25-28. If Zhao Fu came here and took the yin-yang spirit pearl, then he would leave. Putting aside the fact that she was the sect master's daughter's disciple, even if she was the sect master's disciple, Zhao Fu was not afraid at all. However, everyone else gasped. He wasn't even afraid of the sect master's daughter. Who gave him such courage? If he dared to offend the sect master's daughter, even a higher being would not be able to protect him. The white-clothed woman had never thought that this person would not even be afraid of the sect master's daughter. She did not know what to say, and she felt a trace of fear in her heart. Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "Now, how should I deal with the two of you?" The red-clothed woman said, "I don't know when I offended you, but I can apologize to you right now. Please let me off this once." Zhao Fu looked at her and smiled as he said, "Do you think an apology will work?" The red-clothed woman's expression was quite unsightly as she said, "What do you want me to do then? I don't want to become anyone's female attendant, unless you can prove that you're more outstanding than those legacy disciples." In front of Zhao Fu's immense power, the woman in red did not have much of a choice. If Zhao Fu was more outstanding than the yin-yang spirit sect's legacy disciple, becoming his female attendant would bring her many benefits. That would make her feel slightly better. Of course, what she wanted the most was for someone to teach this arrogant fellow a lesson. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "That's not a problem. I'll prove it later." Following this, Zhao Fu turned and looked at the white-clothed woman. "How do you want me to deal with you?" The white-clothed woman lightly harumphed. "How do you want me to deal with you? Do you want me to become your female attendant?" Zhao Fu smiled as he said, That's what I'm thinking." The white-clothed woman said angrily, "Stop dreaming. If you want me to become your female attendant, when my master finds out about this, you're dead." Zhao Fu did not say anything else, and massive amounts of demonic qi flowed into her body. The white-clothed woman felt that her business was spiraling out of control, and she said anxiously, "What are you doing to me?" Zhao Fu said with a smile, "You'll know when you get there." The white-clothed woman's expression was quite unsightly, and she sent out a great amount of power to resist. However, she was unable to resist, and in the end, her body was controlled by Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu released the countless pale roots. The white-clothed woman's face was pale. She now understood that her body was being controlled by Zhao Fu. She glared at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu chuckled and didn't say anything as he walked towards the 17th floor. The woman in the red dress stood where she was and did not follow Zhao Fu up. This was because every person who went up would be blocked by a barrier. Zhao Fu had broken a barrier by himself, so he could only go up by himself. The next person to go up would have to break the barrier again. She wanted to stay here and see if Zhao Fu had the ability to prove that he was stronger than those direct disciples. The white-robed woman angrily followed Zhao Fu up. "What are you trying to do?" Zhao Fu punched the barrier to the 17th floor and said, "You'll know later." The white-clothed woman did not say anything else and followed Zhao Fu to the 17th floor. They came to the 17th floor. The people here looked at Zhao Fu seriously. They knew about Zhao Fu's situation. Zhao Fu glanced at them and continued to walk towards the 18th floor. Finally, he came to the 19th floor. There were only 100 or so people on the 19th floor, and seeing Zhao Fu and the white-clothed woman come up together, they looked quite surprised. One of the handsome-looking young men said, "Qiu Li, did you really lose at this person's hands? You shouldn't be so weak." Qiu Li, the white-clothed woman, glared at the handsome-looking young man and said, "You can try. If you can defeat him, I'll give you anything you want." The handsome-looking young man lightly laughed and stood up as he said to Zhao Fu, "I want to spar with you, sir." Zhao Fu glanced at him and said, "I'm not interested in you, and you're not a match for me. I don't want to waste time with you." The handsome-looking young man looked quite awkward. Qiu Li lightly laughed. "He's quite domineering and arrogant, the kind that can anger you to death. Have you seen it now?" The handsome-looking young man smiled and nodded as he said, "Then I'll have to force my way through." Boom! An explosion sounded out as the handsome-looking young man's body burned with a black and white aura flame, and he quickly rushed toward Zhao Fu. In an instant, he arrived in front of Zhao Fu and punched toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu dodged to the side and avoided the attack. The handsome-looking young man smiled. He felt that Zhao Fu was quite strong and could be his opponent. Boom! The handsome-looking young man punched out, causing the air to explode and giving off a massive sound that seemed to be able to shatter boulders. Zhao Fu once again dodged, dodging the young man's attack. The handsome-looking young man's expression became serious. Zhao Fu had already dodged 2 of his attacks, which showed that he was quite extraordinary. Boom! The handsome-looking young man gave off a powerful aura, and his fists burned with 2 orbs of flames, giving off shocking power. The handsome-looking young man prepared to attack Zhao Fu. Bang! However, at that moment, Zhao Fu suddenly acted and kicked the handsome-looking young man's waist, sending him flying. The handsome-looking young man twisted his body and landed on the ground, his expression becoming quite unsightly. Qiu Li lightly laughed as he said, "Do you understand his power now?" The handsome-looking young man's expression became serious as he earnestly nodded. Zhao Fu walked towards the handsome-looking young man and disappeared in the next moment, appearing in front of the handsome-looking young man and punching out with a black aura flame. The handsome-looking young man was not convinced and also punched out with great power. Bang! The 2 fists collided, resulting in a massive explosion. The handsome-looking young man's body was forced back a few steps, while Zhao Fu's body did not move at all. In the next moment, Zhao Fu stepped forwards and ferociously punched out. The handsome-looking young man used his hand to blocking Zhao Fu's attack. However, Zhao Fu once again punched out with great power towards the handsome-looking young man. Bang! Zhao Fu's punch landed on the handsome-looking young man's chest, sending him flying. The handsome-looking young man crashed to the ground, a few of his ribs broken, and blood leaked out of his mouth. Qiu Li called out, "Enough! Don't continue. He's already lost." The handsome-looking young man's expression was quite unsightly. He had never thought that Zhao Fu would be so powerful. Now that he had lost so easily, he felt quite humiliated. Zhao Fu turned and looked at her before stopping and walking towards the stairs, preparing to head to the 20th level. Qiu Li said, "If you can reach the top level, I'll be your female attendant." Hearing this, everyone felt quite shocked. The top level of the Yin-Yang Tower was the most terrifying level, and even ordinary geniuses could not reach it. Right now, the most terrifying people in the Yin-Yang spirit sect were only on the 32nd level. Chapter 25-29. Everyone could not believe that this person was powerful enough to go to the 13th level. It had been a long time since anyone had gone to the 33rd level. Qiu Li did not think that Zhao Fu would be able to go up, as even the geniuses of the Yin-Yang spirit sect could not do it. They were all incredibly famous in the spirit domain, and if they could not do it, how could this person do it? Zhao Fu's goal was to go to the 33rd level and obtain the Yin-Yang spirit pearl, and he smiled as he said, just wait then. Just you wait, and remember what you said." Qiu Li lightly harumphed, "I'll remember. If you can't go up, you have to remove the restriction within my body." Zhao Fu nodded and walked towards the 20th level. The barrier was now incredibly thick, and it was almost as thick as a wall. Zhao Fu gripped his fist and punched out, shattering the barrier with a single punch, and he went up to the 20th level. After Zhao Fu's body disappeared from the 19th level, everyone started to talk. Who is that low-grade disciple? I wouldn't be surprised if he's a legacy disciple. He's much more powerful than us. I don't believe that he's a low-grade disciple either. A disciple would not be so powerful. He definitely has some other identity. I feel like he's a disciple that an expert in the sect has been secretly nurturing. He's been hiding his identity and only revealed it now to shock everyone. That's possible. That person is simply too powerful, but it's a pity that almost all of the higher beings in the sect have gone to kill that person. The 12th immortal bastard did not stay in the sect, or else we would be able to find out which higher being's disciple he is. The spirit domain is quite chaotic right now. Not only has the 12th immortal bastard appeared, but I heard that the legendary second king of kings, the possessor of 7 emperor stars, has also come to the spirit domain. All sorts of higher beings are looking for them. Yes, the sect has already given the order to forbid us disciples from leaving the sect in case we get into trouble. It's been a while, but those 2 people are quite good at hiding. So many higher beings are looking for them, but they haven't been discovered. Let me ask you, who do you think is more terrifying, the 12th immortal bastard or the second king of kings? Haha, was there even a need to compete? The second king of kings is definitely terrifying. Now, the experts of the Heaven Awakened world's various domains have gathered in spirit realm, and even many experts from the God world and underworld have come. Even though immortal evils might be afraid, they can't compare to the second king of kings. That terrifying existence can shake the entire world. Sigh, it's a pity that the sect told us to stay in the sect, or else I would really like to see the second king of kings. Everyone's attention was on the immortal bastard and the second king of kings, and no one was talking about whether or not Zhao Fu could reach the 33rd level. They did not know that the immortal bastard and second king of kings who had caused such a stir was Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu came to the 20th floor, and the people on the 20th floor looked at Zhao Fu. Ignoring them, Zhao Fu shattered the barrier leading to the 21st floor and exited the 21st floor. A well-built man walked out and looked at Zhao Fu as he condescendingly laughed and said, "I heard that you're quite arrogant. I want to see just how strong you are." Zhao Fu stopped and looked at him coldly as he said provocatively, "If you want to be beaten up, then hurry up. My time is limited." Boom! The well-built man's expression became furious, and a black and white aura flame appeared around his body. His muscles bulged as a black and white ferocious tiger appeared behind him and attached to his back, giving off a shocking aura. Boom! Another explosion sounded out as the well-built man charged at Zhao Fu like a ferocious beast that had gone out of control, making people feel immense terror. Swish, swish, swish. In that instant, Zhao Fu's eyes became blood-red roses and a powerful demonic power spread out. Massive pale white roots grew out of the ground and shot towards the well-built man with immense power. Bang, bang, bang. Facing these ferocious pale roots, the burly man continuously punched out. Waves of powerful fist energy shot out, directly shattering the pale roots. Zhao Fu stretched out a hand, and a powerful demonic power flowed out. A few massive pale white roots grew out, forming a massive arm that gave off shocking power as it slammed towards the well-built man. The well-built man roared and gave off a powerful aura as he vigorously punched towards the arm. Bang! A muffled explosion sounded out as the massive arm formed from roots was blasted apart by the punch, and the well-built man took a few steps back. Boom! Zhao Fu stretched out a hand and gave off a massive wave of demonic power. Countless pale white roots continuously flowed out, forming 3 pale white arms that gave off shocking power as they slammed towards the well-built man. The well-built man's expression became serious, and his body gave off a black and white aura flame. The black and white ferocious tiger attached to his back fused into his body, causing him to become even more powerful. His appearance also continued to change, and his body became like that of a tiger. Bang! 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 3 pale white arms continuously lashed out at the beefy man. The beefy man also continuously punched out. Fists and arms collided, resulting in loud booms and strong wind spreading out. Bang! The massive pale white palm gave off immense power as it slammed towards the well-built man. The well-built man vigorously punched out, and the fist and palm collided. The palm was sent back a few meters, and the well-built man also took a few steps back. Boom! Another pale white arm gave off immense power as it slammed towards the well-built man from the other side. The well-built man quickly dodged to the side, avoiding this terrifying attack. Bang! A muffled explosion sounded out as the well-built man's body was hit by the palm, and he was sent flying back. He crashed against a wall and fell to the ground, and a trace of blood leaked out of his lips. Seeing this, the people in the surroundings thought to themselves in shock. This person was indeed so powerful. The rumors were not false at all. The well-built man crawled up from the ground and wiped away the blood at his lips as he said with a cold expression, "You're indeed very powerful, but don't think that I'll lose to you so easily." Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the muscular man exploded out with an even more stable and terrifying power. An enormous black and white aura flame appeared around his body, and the aura flame continuously changed, forming a massive tiger with 2 tiger heads and giving off a powerful aura. Zhao Fu coldly looked at the well-built man and controlled the 3 arms to give off immense power as they slammed towards the well-built man. Chapter 25:30. Roar. A massive tiger's roar sounded out as the massive tiger gave off a massive roar. Black and white ripples of light containing terrifying power quickly spread out. Bang! A massive sound rang out as the 3 massive pale white arms were blasted apart by the ripples of light, turning into countless fragments. The terrifying ripples of light gave off immense power as they quickly rushed towards Zhao Fu. Many pale white tendrils grew out in front of Zhao Fu, forming a semicircular barrier that gave off a powerful demonic power. Bang! The ripples of light slammed into the semicircular barrier, causing it to crack. However, it was still able to block the terrifying ripples of light. Boom! The black and white tiger suddenly appeared in front of Zhao Fu and slashed out with its claws, sending out 5 sharp arcs of light that tore apart the semicircular barrier made of countless tendrils. The black and white tiger opened its mouth and ferociously leapt at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu dodged to the side, avoiding the tiger's attack. He opened his eyes, and an even greater amount of demonic power flowed out. Countless tendrils grew out from the ground and quickly wrapped around the black and white tiger. Bang! The sound of the air being torn could be heard as the valiant-looking man rushed in front of Zhao Fu. His fist was covered with countless black and white aura flames, and his punch contained terrifying power as it slammed toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu stretched out a hand, and a wave of demonic power flowed out, forming a massive black flower bud. The flower bud then slowly bloomed, revealing blood-red flower buds that gave off devilish and evil light. Bang! A massive sound rang out as the powerful punch slammed into the center of the blood-red flower, causing it to turn into countless petals and scatter. The valiant-looking man's attack was blocked. At that moment, Zhao Fu vigorously kicked out, hitting the valiant-looking man's abdomen and sending him flying. He crashed to the ground and coughed up a large mouthful of blood. Roar! The black and white tiger let out a roar and struggled with all its might, trying to break free from the countless pale roots. Zhao Fu didn't even look at it. He stretched out a hand and grabbed. Countless pale roots quickly tightened, directly strangling the black and white tiger, causing it to explode. It turned into countless black and white auras and dissipated. When the black and white tiger exploded, the burly man's body trembled, and he coughed up a large mouthful of blood. Zhao Fu walked over and stood in front of him as he said coldly, "Do you want to continue?" The burly man said with a pale face, "No more. I admit that you are very strong." Zhao Fu snorted, "Your voice is too soft. Speak louder." The fierce-looking man's expression was quite unsightly and felt quite humiliated. However, looking at Zhao Fu's appearance, he knew that if he did not speak, he would definitely be beaten up. As such, he said loudly in fear, "I admit that you're very powerful, but don't continue." Zhao Fu did not continue. He turned around and walked towards the 22nd floor. Then, Zhao Fu stepped onto the 22nd floor, the 23rd floor, the 24th floor, and finally the 25th floor. The news spread in the lower levels. "This person is so terrifying. I thought that he would at most reach the 20th floor, but he has reached the 25th floor. He is far more powerful than I imagined. I thought that he would only reach the 10th floor or so. With how arrogant and domineering he was, he would most likely be beaten into a cripple and thrown out. However, I heard that he repaid quite a few core disciples in the upper levels. Even though I don't like his character, I can't help but admire and respect him. As a low-level disciple, his performance is so terrifying. He has made us low-level disciples proud. That's right. In the future, those high-level disciples won't dare to look down on us. I wonder what floor he can reach. I feel that he might be a bit weaker than those peerless geniuses and might reach the 31st floor. However, even if he can't compare to those peerless geniuses, I think that those legacy disciples might not be able to defeat him. Yes, I think so too. Even if he isn't as powerful as those peerless geniuses, he can still shake the yin-yang spirit region. What a pity. I knew him before, but our relationship was very ordinary. If I knew that he would have such a day, I would definitely try to please him and become good friends and brothers with him." Lu San's consciousness was incredibly excited. He had never experienced the feeling of being the center of attention and stepping on countless geniuses. Right now, he just wanted Zhao Fu to perform even more outstandingly and make countless people revere him. Zhao Fu came to the 25th floor, and there were only 30 or so people here. A beautiful-looking woman lightly laughed as she said, "Sir, it's not a big deal. What is your name?" Zhao Fu replied, "Lu San." The woman smiled as she said, "I'm Bai Gu. It's my honor to meet Sir today." Zhao Fu calmly replied, Is there anything else? If there is, I can continue upstairs." The woman smiled as she said, "There's nothing else. We've all heard about Sir's power. What floor are you confident in reaching?" Zhao Fu replied, "The top floor." Hearing this, everyone felt quite surprised, and a handsome-looking young man could not help but say, "You really don't know your place. No one has been able to reach the bottom floor for many years, and even the peerless geniuses of the yin-yang spirit sect cannot reach there. How can you do it?" Zhao Fu said confidently, "They are them, and I am me. Do you think I can't do what they can't?" The handsome-looking young man's expression was cold as he said, "Don't be too confident. Those peerless geniuses are not something you can imagine. You'll understand when you see them." Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "All right, I don't have time to chat with you. When you see them, you'll understand whether or not I have the ability to reach the top floor." The handsome-looking young man said in disbelief, "I'll be waiting for you. However, don't lose too badly, or else you'll lose too much face. I'll give you one last piece of advice. Be low-key, or else you won't live for long." As the second-generation king of kings and someone with 7 emperor stars, Zhao Fu naturally had confidence. However, Zhao Fu would not say that to them. After coming to the 26th floor, the barrier here had become corporeal and gave off a very firm power. It seemed that even extreme divine realm experts would find it difficult to break through. Zhao Fu gathered some power in his hand, and his arm started to turn into a plant as roots grew out of it. Boom! Zhao Fu's fist slammed against the barrier, resulting in a massive explosion. However, only a few cracks appeared on the barrier, and it did not shatter. The people on the 26th floor felt quite shocked. They had not broken through the barrier, which was why they had stayed on the 26th floor. Seeing that Zhao Fu had broken through the barrier with a single punch, It seemed that Zhao Fu was definitely stronger than them. The handsome-looking young man became serious and no longer looked down on Zhao Fu. However, he still did not believe that Zhao Fu was as terrifying as a peerless genius. Chapter 25:31. Bang! A massive sound once again sounded out as Zhao Fu once again punched against the barrier. More cracks appeared on the barrier, but it was still not broken. Zhao Fu's expression was cold as he sent even more power into his arm. Black flower buds grew on his arm, and his entire arm gave off a powerful evil power. Bang! A massive sound once again sounded out as Zhao Fu's fist slammed against the barrier, causing it to shatter. It was unable to withstand this terrifying power. Zhao Fu walked forwards and stepped onto the stairs to the 26th level. Level 32. Sitting cross-legged on the ground, a black-clothed, cold-looking young man said, "I heard that there's an ignorant fellow continuously going up and has already reached the 26th level." The gloomy-looking young man next to him said disdainfully, "Why do you care about such an unremarkable person? He might have had some fortuitous encounters, but to us he's too weak and not worth our attention." The beautiful woman in the long silver dress also nodded. "Our opponents are not in the yin-yang spirit sect, but outside of the sect. Next time, we can try to defeat the top few geniuses of the spirit realm. If we can defeat them, we'll be able to take their place and make the yin-yang spirit sect famous. We might even be able to challenge the second king of kings." A handsome-looking young man lightly laughed as he said, "My goal is to become the second king of kings. He's the most terrifying person in the heaven-awakened world, and defeating him is my greatest dream." The cold-looking young man said seriously, "That might be quite difficult. Perhaps we'll have a chance if we challenge the top geniuses, but against someone like the second king of kings, it'll be almost impossible. For example, we don't even have the most basic spirit race supreme emperor star. How will we be able to resist his 7 emperor stars?" Hearing this, the young man sighed, seeming to have taken a heavy blow. The beautiful woman said, "I went too far. Right now, the most important thing for us is to continue cultivating and try to awaken the spirit race supreme emperor star. Only with the spirit race's emperor star will we have the right to fight with that person." The young man smiled and nodded. "Yes, I know. Also, what level do you think that person can reach?" The gloomy-looking young man said coldly, "At most, the 30th level. I don't believe that he can make it here. However, I am quite curious about his identity." The beautiful woman smiled and said, "I, on the other hand, hope that he can make it here. I want to personally see how arrogant he is and if he still has the guts to tease me. At that time, I will let him know the power of a peak genius of the yin-yang spirit sect." The young man smiled and said, "I also want to try his power. I heard that his power is very evil and dark. It doesn't seem to be the cultivation technique of the yin-yang spirit sect. It is a very terrifying power." The cold-looking young man said, "If you want to attack, you should be a bit more intimate. Don't be too heavy-handed. Suppress his arrogance and make him behave." The beautiful woman smiled and said, "Of course I know that. He's also a disciple of our yin-yang spirit sect. Although he's not as good as us, he's stronger than the other direct disciples. Who knows, he might even be able to reach our level." The gloomy-looking young man said, "Don't think too much about it. Right now, it's still unknown whether or not he can make it here." The young man smiled and nodded. "That's right. If we wait for him here and he stops at the 20th level, wouldn't it be too awkward for us?" By now, Zhao Fu had reached the 27th level. There were only 10 or so people here, and each of them gave off a very powerful aura. They sat cross-legged on the ground and looked at Zhao Fu, who was walking up. These people looked at Zhao Fu with serious expressions and did not have any intention of talking to Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu also did not want to pay attention to them. After walking up, he came to the staircase leading to the 28th level. Boom! A massive sound rang out as Zhao Fu punched the barrier. The barrier slightly trembled, but there were no cracks at all. The barrier was already very terrifying, and it was even more difficult to break. Boom! Zhao Fu once again punched the barrier, but there was still no mark on the barrier, and it looked as if it could not be broken at all. The people sitting cross-legged on the 27th level looked quite disdainful and mocking. They had thought that this person was incredibly powerful, but it turned out that he was the same as them, unable to break the barrier, and could only stay here and cultivate. These people were too much. A person who was not much weaker than them had bragged about how terrifying he was, making them worry for nothing. Zhao Fu frowned as he looked at the barrier in front of him and retreated. Seeing this, everyone felt quite surprised. Was this person going to give up? Zhao Fu retreated 5 or 6 meters away and stretched out a hand. A massive wave of demonic energy continuously flowed out, and Zhao Fu's arm turned into countless pale white tendrils. The pale white tendrils became incredibly sharp and gave off immense power, and there were 30 or so of them. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as Zhao Fu controlled the 30 or so massive roots, which seemed to be able to pierce through anything and ferociously charge forwards. Bang! A massive sound rang out as the pale white roots slammed against the barrier, causing it to tremble, and a few centimeters of the sharp roots pierced through. Boom! Zhao Fu sent a massive wave of demonic power into the roots and vigorously stretched them forwards, causing the countless roots to give off even greater power as they smashed forwards. Bang! The sturdy defensive barrier was broken, turning into countless fragments that flew out, and a strong wind blew in all directions. Everyone looked incredibly shocked. They had never thought that this person would actually be able to break through the barrier. Zhao Fu controlled the countless pale white roots to shrink back into an arm, which looked like a normal person's arm. Everyone could not help but say to themselves, as expected, he's a monster. Zhao Fu ignored these people and continued to head to the 28th level. When he came to the 28th level, there were only 8 people here, and they all looked at Zhao Fu in shock. The terrifying ripples that Zhao Fu had given off after breaking through the barrier had caused them to wake up from their cultivation. Looking at Zhao Fu, their expressions became serious. This person is incredibly dangerous. They did not look for Zhao Fu, and Zhao Fu did not have time to pay attention to them. He went to the staircase to the 29th level, and the barrier became even more powerful. Bang! 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 Massive sounds continuously sounded out as strong winds spread out, and everyone looked at this scene in shock. Bang! A massive sound rang out as Zhao Fu continuously attacked 14 times. On the 15th attack, he successfully broke through the barrier. Chapter 25:32. Following this, Zhao Fu went up the stairs to the 29th level and came to the 30th level. There were only 5 people here, and they looked at Zhao Fu seriously and did not say anything. They were waiting to see if Zhao Fu had the ability to break through the barrier to the 30th level. This barrier was incredibly tough, and even a high-grade attack would not be able to affect it at all. With their strength, they definitely would not be able to break through this barrier, as only those geniuses could do so. Boom! Zhao Fu came before the barrier and vigorously punched out, resulting in a massive explosion. However, the barrier did not budge at all, and Zhao Fu was forced back a step. By now, Zhao Fu's expression became serious. This barrier was not simple at all. Zhao Fu once again retreated a few meters, and his arm turned into countless pale white tendrils. The tips of the tendrils became sharp, and they gave off terrifying power as they slammed towards the barrier. Bang! 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 Massive sounds continuously sounded out as Zhao Fu controlled the countless sharp pale white tendrils to continuously attack the barrier. However, in the end, the barrier was not damaged at all, and it was as tough as steel. Zhao Fu stopped and frowned as he looked at the barrier. The people on the 29th level looked quite disappointed, and one of them said, "Don't waste any more time. Stay on this level and cultivate." Zhao Fu turned to look at him, but did not reply. Instead, he focused his gaze on the barrier, and the countless tendrils started to retract. In the end, they were only a bit longer than an arm, and they were not as long as before. Boom! Zhao Fu sent all of his demonic power into the pale white tendrils, and they started to twist as if they had their own minds, giving off traces of demonic aura. Boom! An explosion once again sounded out as Zhao Fu gripped the pale white tendrils. Massive amounts of demonic power condensed, and a blood-red orb appeared at the center of the tendrils, giving off an extremely terrifying power. The people on the 29th level sensed this terrifying power, and their expressions changed as they stared at the orb of blood. Zhao Fu continued to pour a massive amount of nefarious demon power into the ball of blood, causing it to grow bigger and bigger. The aura it gave off also grew more and more terrifying, causing the space around it to blur. In the next moment, Zhao Fu rushed forward and pressed the terrifying ball of blood in his hand forward. The ball of blood collided with the barrier. Boom! The ball of blood exploded, and a world-destroying power instantly spread out. The blood-red light devoured everything, and a huge explosion sounded throughout the entire Yin-Yang Tower. Everyone on the 1st and 32nd floors heard this loud sound. The people on the various floors looked incredibly shocked, feeling that this power was incredibly terrifying. At first, they didn't know what was going on, but they soon realized that Zhao Fu was going up the stairs, so the loud noise must have been caused by him. Everyone felt that they had somewhat underestimated that person. After all, causing such terrifying shockwaves was something that ordinary experts would not be able to do, yet that person had done it. Today, that person would definitely shake the Yin-Yang spirit sect. The 4 geniuses on the 32nd level felt this shockwave, and their expressions became solemn. They were no longer as relaxed as before, and they could faintly feel a threat. Turning to the 29th level, the countless blood-red lights dissipated, and a large hole had been blasted open in the powerful barrier by Zhao Fu. The people on this level stared at this scene with wide eyes, filled with shock. This person had still managed to break the barrier. When the ball of blood exploded, they were unable to defend against that power at all. They felt that it was a power that could easily kill them, and now their backs were covered in cold sweat. Zhao Fu's expression did not change, and his arm returned to normal. He walked into the large hole and headed to the 30th level. When he came to the 30th level, there was not a single person here. The cultivation speed was much faster than on the 29th level, but it was a pity that no one could come here. Now, he was on the 30th level, and the highest level was the 33rd level. There were only 3 more levels, and he would be able to obtain the Yin-Yang Spirit Pearl. Zhao Fu continued forward and came to the barrier of the 31st level. This layer of barrier was no longer the same as the previous one. It had undergone a huge change. Firstly, the shape was not circular like before, but a corporeal Tai Chi diagram. It floated in the air and gave off a black and white light. Secondly, the power was very different. Before, the barrier was mainly made up of barrier energy, but now the Tai Chi diagram gave off massive yin and yang energy, giving off the feeling that it was an yin-yang vortex that could devour everything. Thirdly, the toughness of this barrier was many times stronger than before, and it seemed quite impossible to break it. The last 3 barriers could be said to be the most powerful 3 barriers. They contained a huge amount of yin and yang energy. For an ordinary person, breaking them was more difficult than ascending to the heavens. So these 3 barriers were called the Heavenly Defense 3 barriers. As the geniuses of the Yin-Yang spirit sect, they understood how powerful this barrier was, which was why they were confident that Zhao Fu would only be able to reach the 30th level at most. Now, everyone knew that Zhao Fu had reached the 30th level, and they all felt quite nervous. They did not know if Zhao Fu would be able to break the barrier and reach the 31st level. However, even if he could not reach the 31st level, with his terrifying power at the 30th level, he would be the most powerful person below the geniuses, and no one else could compare to him. Shangmi's face was pale, and he was filled with regret. How could he have offended such a terrifying person? His senior apprentice brother's expression was also quite unsightly, and he felt incredibly regretful. If he had known that that person was so terrifying, he definitely would not have cared about Shangmi's life or death. Even if he was beaten to death, he would not have offended Zhao Fu. There were also a few people who had wanted to teach Zhao Fu a lesson, and their expressions were quite unsightly. Zhao Fu had already surpassed what they could accept, and they were waiting for Zhao Fu to come down so that they could properly apologize. Otherwise, they would not have a good time in the future. The woman in the white dress who had been taken advantage of by Zhao Fu was called Luo Mingyan, and she felt quite fearful. She had wanted someone to come out and teach this arrogant fellow a lesson. However, she had never thought that none of the higher-ups would be a match for him. Even though someone had come out to teach him a lesson, they had been beaten up by him. Now, he had become the most powerful person below the peerless geniuses, and apart from peerless geniuses, no one could suppress him. If he took advantage of her again in the future, she would not be able to resist at all. Thinking to there, Luo Mingyan started to worry. If Zhao Fu was not so arrogant and lecherous, Luo Mingyan would have quite admired such a powerful person. The woman in the red dress was called Serene, and she had told Zhao Fu that as long as Zhao Fu proved that he was stronger than a legacy disciple, she would become his female attendant. Chapter 25:33. Now Zhao Fu had done it. Not only had he done it, but he had also surpassed her expectations. He had become the most powerful expert below geniuses and was far more outstanding than those legacy disciples. At that moment, Yang Saran felt half happy and half worried. She was worried that with her personality, she would not become someone's attendant. In the future, she would have to take care of a man and even use her body to serve that person. Even if she was not willing, there was nothing she could do. Facing that person's power, she could not resist at all. She was happy that Zhao Fu had such terrifying power, and becoming his attendant would bring her countless benefits. She would have an even higher status and even more power, and no one would dare to offend her in the future. This made her feel quite happy. Finally, it was Qiu Li, the androgynous woman. Her expression became serious. Now that Zhao Fu had reached the 30th level, she was quite shocked. Zhao Fu had proven how outstanding and powerful he was. She was not too sure if Zhao Fu would be able to reach the top. It had been many years since anyone had reached the top, and Qiu Li understood that it would be quite difficult. If Zhao Fu could not reach the top, she could accept it. As long as Zhao Fu proved that he was not weaker than other geniuses, she would not mind becoming Zhao Fu's attendant. Zhao Fu looked at the Tai Chi diagram in front of him and gripped his fist. He sent a large wave of power into it and punched out. Bang! A muffled explosion sounded out as Zhao Fu's punch slammed into the Tai Chi diagram, causing a gale to spread out. However, in the next moment, the Tai Chi diagram quickly spun and gave off a massive suction force that devoured Zhao Fu's power. Zhao Fu's expression fell, and he took a step back. This barrier seemed to be even more difficult to break than he had expected. After thinking about it, Zhao Fu's arm once again turned into countless pale white vines, and a large wave of demonic power flowed into them. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the massive demonic power once again condensed into a blood-red orb, giving off an extremely terrifying aura and causing the surroundings to become quite oppressive. Zhao Fu stepped forwards and pressed the blood-red orb against the Tai Chi diagram. The Tai Chi diagram sensed danger and quickly spun, giving off an intense light. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out, and a terrifying destructive power spread out. Blood-red light shot out in all directions, but when the shock waves dissipated, the Tai Chi diagram was still the same as before and had not been damaged at all. Zhao Fu frowned and felt quite surprised that this attack had not been able to deal any damage to Great Qin. This barrier was truly powerful. Zhao Fu did not intend to give up. He thought for a moment and decided to try an even more powerful move. One of Zhao Fu's hands turned into more pale roots and grew out. However, the countless pale roots grew in 5 directions, finally forming the shape of a tree with 5 roots. It looked very strange and terrifying. Zhao Fu started to pour a massive amount of power into it, and the pale white roots gave off a powerful demonic power. The powerful demonic energy gathered at the center of the stem, forming 5 blood-red orbs. A terrifying aura spread out, causing the surrounding space to twist and the surroundings to become incredibly cold. The Tai Chi diagram sensed this terrifying power and slowly spun, giving off an intense black light and a massive wave of yin and yang energy. Zhao Fu rushed forwards and stretched out his arm, giving off a ferocious aura as he pressed the 5 blood-red orbs against the Tai Chi diagram. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion rang out as the 5 blood-red spheres exploded at the same time. The terrifying power seemed to be able to destroy everything, and it quickly spread out in an unstoppable manner, covering everything in an instant. The entire yin-yang building slightly trembled, and the terrifying aura spread to every level. Countless people felt as if they had fallen into icy water, and they could not help but tremble. So terrifying. Sensing this terrifying power, countless people looked up and muttered to themselves. That person was already attacking the barrier to the 31st level, which was why he was giving off such terrifying ripples. They wondered if that person could break through the 31st level's powerful barrier. The expressions of the 4 geniuses on the 32nd level became even more serious, and they started to feel nervous. If Zhao Fu broke through the 31st level's defenses and came to the 31st level, he would only need to break through one more barrier to reach them. After the ripples dissipated, Zhao Fu was still unable to break through the Tai Chi diagram. However, the Tai Chi diagram was now covered with cracks and was incredibly weak. With a certain amount of power, he would be able to shatter it. The effects of Zhao Fu's attack were quite terrifying, and the incredibly tough ground started to crack. Bang! Zhao Fu gripped his fist and punched the Tai Chi diagram, causing it to shatter and dissipate into motes of light. Zhao Fu walked towards the stairs to the 31st level. He really broke through the 31st level's barrier. At that moment, countless people sensed that aura and said in shock. The scene immediately became quite lively. Wow, that person is so powerful to be able to break through the 3 heavenly defense barriers. Just thinking about it makes me feel so excited. I'm going to worship that person from now on. I really didn't think that he would be able to break through the 3 heavenly defense barriers. I really admire him now, and I really like him. I really hope that he can break through the next layer of defense. I also hope that he can break through the next layer of defense. If he can break through the next layer of defense, it means that he has power comparable to a peerless genius, and our yin-yang spirit sect will have a 5th peerless genius. I'm also very excited right now. I've personally witnessed the birth of the 5th peerless genius, and the overall strength of our yin-yang spirit sect has increased. Don't be too happy yet. The 3 heavenly defense barriers' power is more terrifying with each layer. You might not be able to break through this barrier, so don't be too confident. Actually, I don't like this person, mainly because he's too arrogant and domineering, and he even took liberties with female disciples in public. I really can't tolerate it, and if he becomes a peerless genius of the yin-yang spirit sect, many people will suffer. I don't want him to become a peerless genius. Just you wait. Whether or not he can become a peerless genius, we'll know soon. The 4 peerless geniuses on the 32nd level all looked serious. That person had already come to the 31st level, and they were only separated by a barrier. They were not sure if that person really had the ability to come here, and they felt an indescribable nervousness. Zhao Fu came to the 31st level, and there was no one here. Zhao Fu came to the barrier that led to the 32nd level, and the barrier in front of him was still a Tai Chi diagram. But the terrifying aura it gave off was many times more powerful than the previous one. This barrier would be even more difficult to break, so Zhao Fu did not hesitate and stretched out a hand, which turned into countless pale roots that grew in 9 directions, forming 9 pale roots. Chapter 25:34. Zhao Fu sent all of his power into the 9 roots, and the 9 pale white roots gave off powerful demonic aura. Blood-red orbs condensed, giving off terrifying auras that could cause people to feel despair. This move used up most of Zhao Fu's power. Boom! Zhao Fu rushed up and vigorously pushed forwards, giving off a ferocious aura as he pressed the 9 blood-red orbs at 9 different locations on the Tai Chi diagram. Bang! 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 Massive sounds rang out as the blood-red orbs exploded, causing terrifying power to spread out. It seemed as if it could destroy the heavens and earth, and no one could stop it. However, in the next moment, the Tai Chi diagram quickly spun like a disc, forming a massive vortex that devoured all of the power from the explosion. Following this, a massive wave of power flowed out and slammed into Zhao Fu's body. Bang! This wave of power was incredibly terrifying, and Zhao Fu's body flew backwards. He only stopped after crashing into a distant wall, and a trace of blood leaked out of his lips. The second heavenly defense barrier was truly terrifying. Zhao Fu got up from the ground and wiped the blood from his lips as he once again walked in front of the Tai Chi diagram. This time, Zhao Fu did not rashly attack and instead closed his eyes. Boom! Zhao Fu gathered all of the demonic energy in his body, and a black and blood-red aura flooded out, covering the 31st level. Zhao Fu's body started to turn into a plant, and his hair became thin, pale roots. His eyes became blood-red roses, looking quite terrifying and giving off a powerful evil power. Zhao Fu stretched out a hand and gently placed it on the Tai Chi diagram. All of the demonic energy gathered in front of Zhao Fu's palm, forming a round seed that was as big as a fingernail. It gave off immense power and floated out of Zhao Fu's palm. Zhao Fu stretched out his hand and lightly pressed down, and the round seed slowly fused into the Tai Chi diagram. Following this, a wave of demonic power spread out as countless pale white roots grew from the seed, covering the Tai Chi diagram. The Tai Chi emitted a powerful yin and yang energy, resisting the corrosion of the evil demonic energy. However, the evil demonic energy devoured a large amount of yin and yang energy. The round seed absorbed a large amount of yin and yang energy and slowly grew larger. In the end, the seed formed a 1-meter wide flower bud that slowly bloomed, giving off a demonic blood-red light. A blood-red, rose-like flower appeared before Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu stretched out his finger and lightly tapped the center of the flower. A formless energy spread out and the flower started to wither. As the petals fell, the yin-yang symbol also shattered, and Zhao Fu successfully broke through the barrier to the 32nd level. At that moment, countless people sensed this ripple and could not help but excitedly cry out, creating quite a ruckus. Oh my God! That person really broke through the 32nd level's barrier. He's now the 5th peerless genius of the yin-yang spirit sect. Haha! I'm so excited and happy to personally witness the appearance of the 5th peerless genius. Moreover, I've seen him before. Even though he looks quite ordinary, he's just too charismatic. Forgive me for underestimating him. I never thought that he would be able to reach this stage. Now, he's the 5th genius of the yin-yang spirit sect. We should all be proud of him. I like him too much. I like how domineering he is. I really want to become his woman. That would be the same as becoming a genius woman. Now, this person is truly terrifying. Now that he's a peerless genius, no one will dare to offend him anymore. I'm quite curious as to why he has the power of a peerless genius and why he's only a low-grade disciple. Could it be that he's an expert that some higher being has secretly nurtured? That's definitely true. That's the only way to explain how a low-grade disciple could have such great power. He's so arrogant because he has someone backing him up. Luo Mingyin's face was incredibly pale. She had never thought that she would be teased by a peerless genius. Now that he had become such a terrifying person, almost no one dared to offend him. She could only endure it. Now that Zhao Fu's identity was too terrifying, she did not dare to offend him. She could only hope that Zhao Fu would let her off and not care about this matter. Yang Serene gave a trace of smile. Now that Zhao Fu had become a peerless genius, she now had a peerless genius as her backer. In the future, there would be many benefits. Qiuli let out a sigh of relief and smiled. He felt that he had underestimated Zhao Fu. The young man who had challenged Zhao Fu before said in shock, "I never thought that he would have the power of a peerless genius. We've really misjudged him. Later, we'll go and curry favor with him. Qiuli, you should help out too." Qiuli smiled as he looked at him. "We'll see how you perform later." The expressions of the 4 peerless geniuses on the 32nd level were quite unsightly, and the cold-looking young man said, "He's coming up soon." The cold-looking young man said, "The 4 of us have underestimated him. He actually has such terrifying power. Now, I'm even more curious about what kind of person he is." The beautiful woman said solemnly, I didn't expect that a low-level disciple would be able to reach here. This has never happened in the Yin-Yang spirit sect before. I can feel a strong threat from him." The young man said, "Do you think that he not only has the power to come here, but he's even more powerful than us? I definitely don't believe that. How can a low-grade disciple compare to us? It's most likely that he was very lucky to come here." The cold-looking young man frowned and said, "Since he can come here, it means that he has the power to fight with us. Even though I don't want him to be more powerful than us, this fellow's origins are too mysterious, and I can't be sure of his power." Dong, dong, dong. The footsteps came closer and closer, and the 4 peerless geniuses did not say anything. They all looked towards the staircase, waiting for that person to appear. They felt quite nervous, wanting to know just what kind of person had such terrifying power. However, when Zhao Fu walked up, the 4 of them looked at the young man in front of them in confusion. He looked too ordinary. Did he really have such great power? This made the 4 of them feel quite uncertain. They could sense an evil and dark aura coming from his body, and only then could they confirm that this ordinary-looking young man was that terrifying low-grade disciple. The 4 of them quickly sensed this ordinary-looking young man's power, wanting to see if he was as strong as they were. The results caused them to feel quite shocked. This young man's power was not as great as theirs, and he was at most on the 3rd level. How had he come up here? Chapter 25:35. Zhao Fu walked up and looked at the 4 peerless geniuses. He did not pay too much attention to them, and was about to head towards the final level. The cold-looking young man said in displeasure, "Who are you?" Zhao Fu stopped and turned to look at the cold-looking young man as he coldly replied, "What does who I am have to do with you?" The cold-looking young man laughed in anger. "A low-grade disciple like you dares to talk to me? Do you know who we are? Don't think that you're the same as us. If you offend us, none of us will be able to protect you." Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "The 4 of you are just 4 peerless geniuses in the sect, but so what?" The cold-looking young man's expression was cold. This person knew who they were and still dared to speak to them like this. He was simply too bold. However, this meant that this person's identity was not simple, or else he would not dare to speak to them like this. The cold-looking young man said, "Just who are you? You shouldn't be a low-grade disciple. I've never heard of that higher being secretly nurturing anyone." The beautiful woman said, "Your identity is suspicious. If you don't explain yourself, don't blame us." Zhao Fu lightly laughed as his gaze was filled with disdain. "Oh? In other words, the 4 of you want to attack me?" The beautiful woman coldly harumphed, "If you don't explain yourself, we'll definitely subdue you. Also, put away that arrogant tone of yours. We're not from downstairs. If you continue to speak like this, we'll kill you." Zhao Fu domineeringly laughed as he said, "Then hurry up and attack. 1, or all 4 at once." Zhao Fu's words caused the 4 of them to look furious. No one dared to speak to them like this. This person was just as arrogant and domineering as the rumors said, making them feel disgusted. Just as the beautiful woman was about to stand up, the young man beside her suddenly said, "Let me test his power first. If he can't even defeat me, he has no right for you to attack." Hearing this, the beautiful woman nodded in agreement. The young man stood up and looked at Zhao Fu as he stretched his muscles and laughed as he said, "I hope you have the strength to speak like this, otherwise you might die." Shio! An air-piercing sound rang out, and the young man disappeared on the spot. In the next second, he appeared in front of Zhao Fu, and with a palm that could shatter a mountain, he slammed towards Zhao Fu's chest. Zhao Fu was already prepared. He quickly dodged to the side, leaving a trail of afterimages as he dodged the youth's attack. There was a smile on the young man's face, and he was not surprised at all. He twisted his body and kicked out, and the terrifying power caused the air to explode. Zhao Fu somersaulted into the air, and in that instant his eyes turned into a blood-red rose, and a huge amount of demonic power surged out. The young man immediately sensed this huge, evil force and looked up at Zhao Fu in midair. By now, Zhao Fu had already started to attack. The pale white roots on the ground became sharp and gave off a powerful force as they stabbed towards the young man from all directions, seeming as if they wanted to stab through the young man's body. The young man's expression became serious. He stomped the ground with one foot, and a powerful force turned into a shockwave that spread out, shattering the many roots that shot over, turning them into countless fragments that flew out. Zhao Fu stretched out a hand, which turned into countless roots and twisted, forming a sharp claw that gave off shocking power as it grabbed towards the young man. The young man sent some power into his palm, and an yin-yang diagram appeared on his palm, giving off powerful yin and yang power as he slammed upwards. Bang! A massive sound rang out as the claw and palm collided, resulting in a wild gale. The young man took a few steps back, and Zhao Fu landed stably on the ground. The three people next to him looked quite serious. From the looks of it, that person might be slightly stronger than the young man. What was most noteworthy was the evil and dark power that flowed out from that person's body. This was not the power of the yin-yang spirit sect, and it was incredibly terrifying. It was most likely the power of a top-tier demon race. However, his body gave off the aura and ripples of the yin-yang spirit sect's cultivation technique. If it was not for this, they would have treated him as someone from outside the sect. In this aspect, the sect did not forbid anyone from cultivating outside the sect. Now that this power had been unleashed, that person's power became incredibly terrifying. That person had most likely used this power to come here. There were many suspicious points about this person, and they could not understand his identity. The people downstairs were still in an uproar, but there were many people who were looking forward to that person's shocking performance, which was to reach the top floor. However, after waiting for a while, there was no movement. That person most likely would not be able to reach the top floor, as even the peerless geniuses could not reach the top floor. For that person to reach the 32nd floor was already quite good. However, they soon received news that that person might have fought with the peerless geniuses on the 32nd floor. The people on the upper floors could feel intense battle ripples. Hearing this, the crowd was in an uproar. They had thought that that person had the ability to rival the peerless geniuses and could become the sect's newest peerless genius. However, they had never thought that he would be able to fight with a peerless genius. Now, no one knew who would win. A battle between peerless geniuses would definitely be intense and exciting, but it was a pity that they would not be able to see it. Now, the people were split into two factions. One faction supported a few peerless geniuses, telling them to teach that person a lesson and suppress his arrogance. The other faction supported that person, wanting to see that person fearlessly become the strongest person in the yin-yang spirit sect. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the young man exploded out with a massive yin and yang power. A yin-yang diagram appeared behind him, and the young man's aura also became extremely powerful. At this moment, the young man had already used all of his strength. If he did not use all of his strength, he knew that he might not be able to defeat this person. Zhao Fu stood at the side with a faint smile, and one of his hands turned into countless roots. Boom! The young man stepped out and gave off a powerful aura as he quickly rushed toward Zhao Fu. Swish! 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 Zhao Fu gave off a massive demonic aura as countless pale white roots grew around him. They gave off immense power as they shot towards the young man like a flood. Bang! The young man vigorously slapped out with his palm, and a black and white energy shot out. An explosion suddenly sounded out as the countless roots exploded, turning into countless shards. In that instant, the young man quickly rushed in front of Zhao Fu, and the yin-yang diagram behind him started to spin. Massive yin and yang power entered his palm, causing it to give off an intense black and white light as it slammed toward Zhao Fu. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.